Chapter 1413. Bestowing the Supreme God Realm Inheritance. Your Majesty. Feng Luo flew in front of Zhou Fight, knelt on the ground, and said respectfully, Your Majesty, please punish me. I came back late, and even asked Your Majesty to specially return to find me. Ha ha ha. Zhou Fight laughed out loud when he heard that. Then he smiled and said, What's your crime? Don't tell me this emperor wants you to surrender when you're surrounded by enemies? That's the real disgrace to this emperor. You killed all 5 Chaos Gods race master gods by yourself? Yes, Your Majesty. I killed them all by myself. Feng Luo answered honestly. Okay. As expected of this emperor's subject, he's clearly just a beginner as a master god. But he can actually sweep through the 5 master gods of the Chaos God race. Moreover, there are 2 intermediate master god grade master gods among them. Well done. You've never disappointed this emperor. Zhou Fight was very satisfied. He looked at Feng Luo and felt very emotional. He had long known that Feng Luo's perception was very heaven-defying. Among the old generals present, the first to comprehend a law skill on his own was not Zhou, Nazario, or any other general, but this seemingly ordinary Feng Luo. Back then Feng Luo, who was still the 10-directional martial emperor, had relied on his extraordinary tier strength to comprehend a law skill, One Blade Ultimate. With this move, he had successfully broken the true Lord's nomological skill, Exile the World. This would stun everyone present. If it wasn't for Feng Luo's attack, he really wouldn't know how to deal with the true Lord back then. Feng Luo was able to defeat the true Lord on the final Will battlefield and obtain first place in that event. It could be said that he had done a great service. They did not expect that today. He had shown himself another trick. With his newly advanced Master God tier Divine Spirit Realm and his Master Divine Artifact, even with the help of his Master God tier Advanced Grade God Spirit Inheritance, he could fight 5 Master Gods alone and kill 5 Chaos Gods. Even Master God tiers like Ying Ning and Yuan Song, who were his subordinates, might not be able to achieve such a feat. Not only was Feng Luo able to do it, but he was even able to defeat him without suffering any injuries. This level of comprehension and combat talent was simply inconceivable. He suddenly recalled the inheritance of the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit that he had obtained yesterday. Feng Luo has always been walking the path of the Law of Swords. Perhaps the inheritance of the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm is very suitable for him. Zhou Fight thought. He thought for a moment before extending his right hand. He saw a Book of the God Spirit emitting a vast nomological aura appear in his palm. It was the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit. As soon as the Book of the God Spirit appeared, all the Master God tier existences present seemed to be attracted by it. Their gazes were fixed on the Book of the God Spirit, and they could not even bear to look away for a second. Your Excellency Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit. The first venerable, the primordial dragon, who was the most knowledgeable and had the deepest foundation among the master gods, spoke in an extremely difficult and unbelievable tone. Even though the other master gods, especially Terence and the other 10 master gods, did not say anything, they had the same thoughts and guesses in their hearts. Could this really be the Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit? Were they dreaming the treasure that they had dreamed of appeared in front of them unprepared? That's right. This is a Grade 3 Supreme God Realm Book of the God Spirit. He is from the Supreme God Realm, the Heavenly Blade Supreme Excellency, with the highest attainment in the Law of Sword. Zhou Fight glanced at the gods and did not hide anything. He said it directly. The Master God tiers immediately fell silent upon hearing this. They had naturally heard of the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm. That person was the #1 existence in the Law of Swords. Even though he was only a Grade 3 Supreme God Realm, because of his powerful strength, he was famous even among Grade 4 Supreme God Realms. He did not expect His Majesty's Supreme God Realm God Spirit Inheritance to be this God Spirit's inheritance. They looked at the Book of the God Spirit, the fanaticism in their eyes almost turning into tangible flames. However, Zhou Fight did not seem to notice the fanaticism in the eyes of the Master God tier present. Instead, he looked at Feng Luo, who was staring blankly at the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit. At that moment, as he looked at the Book of the God Spirit, it was as though he had seen the end of his nomological path. He had a premonition. This Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit should be extremely compatible with him. If he obtained the Book of the God Spirit and embarked on the path of the gods inherited from the book, he might be able to use this path of the gods to walk towards the ultimate goal of the gods, the Supreme God Realm. Feng Luo. At this moment, Zhou Zhou's voice sounded. He sounded amused, as if he was very satisfied with Feng Luo's current expression. It seemed that this Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit was indeed extremely compatible with him. He had made the right choice. Zhou Fai thought to himself, "Your Majesty, I'm here." Feng Luo snapped out of him, dazed, and hastily said respectfully, "All right. You defeated 5 Master God tiers of the Chaos God race. Good job. He didn't embarrass our blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. I'll reward you with this Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm's Book of the God Spirit. I hope that after you accept the inheritance, you can surpass yourself again. At the same time, you will be worthy of this Supreme God Realm inheritance." Zhou Fai said. Feng Luo couldn't believe his ears. Not only did His Majesty not blame him for delaying his return, he even said that he had done a good job and rewarded him with this Supreme God Realm inheritance. That was the inheritance of a Supreme God Realm God Spirit. Feng Luo was no longer the same as before. Under the influence of the Myriad Races Inheritance Tower, he had long known a large number of secrets in the myriad worlds. He naturally knew how important the inheritance of the Supreme God Realm God Spirit was in the myriad worlds. That was a legacy that even the original Spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race might not have. Not only did His Majesty have it, but he also bestowed it to him. According to what he knew, even His Majesty's most trusted Legion commander, Bai Yin, didn't receive such treatment, right? Even His Majesty's most trusted Legion commander, Bai Yin, didn't receive such treatment, right? Thank you for the reward, Your Majesty. I will definitely live up to His Majesty's high expectations. I will definitely live up to the Supreme God Realm inheritance bestowed by His Majesty," he said respectfully. Just as he finished speaking, he felt countless envious and passionate gazes land on him. Among them, Terrence and the other top Master God tiers had the most attention. Feng Luo could even sense a hint of jealousy in his tone. Upon seeing this, Feng Luo's expression remained unchanged, but HC was actually smiling bitterly in his heart. He naturally knew the obsessions of top Master Gods like Terrence. It could be said that they had chosen to join the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom in order to become Supreme God Realm experts. Now top Master Gods like them had not obtained the Supreme God Realm's inheritance. Instead, it was him, a junior who had just advanced to the Master God Realm today, who had obtained the first Supreme God Realm's inheritance. It would be strange if they were not envious and jealous. However, since he had accepted His Majesty's reward, he was naturally unafraid of everyone's gazes. Therefore, he did not even look at Terrence and the others. Just as Zhou Fai was about to hand the Supreme God Realm Book of the God Spirit to Feng Luo, a low and terrifying voice suddenly sounded. "In the face of a rare Supreme God Realm inheritance, why aren't you so wishy-washy? Common people's regal. Since your general doesn't dare to accept your gift, hand him over to me." Chapter 14:14. The Heaven Curse Beast is injured. Lower your head and speak. Boom. In the sky above the Chaos Realm where Zhou Fai and the others were, a huge hole with a diameter of more than 1,000 light-years suddenly appeared in the chaotic airflow. Then, a terrifying white claw with a diameter of 500 to 600 light-years flew out of the huge hole and grabbed the Book of the God Spirit between Zhou Fai and Feng Luo. At the same time, one by one, the God Spirits of the Chaos Gods race and the God Spirits of other races surrounded them from all directions, enveloping Zhou Fai and the others in the middle. Courting death, Zhou Fai looked up at the source of the huge white claw. Grade 3 Supreme God Realm Will Technique, Million Blades. Activate. A total of 100 million blades instantly formed in his sea of consciousness before shooting towards the source of the white-furred claw. Then, he heard a scream and saw the huge white claw retract at an even faster speed. Huh! Zhou Feit raised his eyebrows in surprise. The owner of this huge white claw was most likely the chaotic divine race's patriarch, the legendary chaotic divine beast. Heaven-cursed beast that even the Supreme Will was jealous of. But even if he was a heaven-cursed beast, he was only a god spirit of Master God tier advanced grade. Previously, he had only used 1/10,000,000 of the power of the Great Million Blades, but it had already killed that Master God tier advanced grade Chaos Fiend Celestial on the spot. Facing an attack from a Supreme God realm, with 1% of his strength, the other party actually did not die on the spot, but his will was injured? This heaven-cursed beast. Looks like it's not ordinary, Zhou Feit thought himself. At this moment, he suddenly saw something. He extended his right hand and saw an item land in his hand. It was a strand of white fur. It came from the white fur on the heaven-cursed beast's arm. He stared at the white fur as a divine light flickered in his eyes. Then, his pupils suddenly constricted slightly. Perfect gene, he said in surprise. Perfect gene. He had learned this concept from the Book of Life, the divine artifact of the race. According to the information he had learned back then, living beings with perfect genes could have a supreme god realm constitution after they reached adulthood. He could almost call himself a pseudo-supreme god realm expert. Moreover, such pseudo-supreme god realms also had talent that far exceeded ordinary life forms in terms of comprehending laws and willpower, which meant this kind of pseudo-supreme god realm could completely reach the supreme god realm first, before turning back to cultivate the laws and will. In this way, he would become a true supreme god realm expert. It could be said that living beings with perfect genes were almost equivalent to having a path to the supreme god realm. Zhou Feit did not expect this either. The heaven-cursed beast actually had perfect genes. Then, he suddenly frowned slightly. Something was wrong. Even though he had only exchanged blows with the heaven-cursed beast at the level of willpower from an endless distance, he could also sense that the other party's divine body had not become a supreme god realm divine body. At most, it could be considered a top master god tier divine body, possessing perfect genes, but not a supreme god realm divine body. What is going on? Could it be the curse of the supreme will? Zhou Feit suddenly thought of this. Could it be because of the curse of the supreme will? The heaven-cursed beast did not use its perfect genes to evolve into a supreme god realm divine body. He immediately observed the white fur in his hand carefully. The current him was not only a Lord-type god spirit, but he also cultivated the supreme sacred body that the supreme will was cultivating. He and the supreme will could be said to be of the same origin. Therefore, even though he was very far from the level of the supreme will, he could still sense the majestic power of the supreme sacred body hidden under the white fur. Moreover, he could vaguely sense that this power from the supreme sacred body was indeed suppressing the perfect genes of the heaven-cursed beast. He was not happy after Zhou Feit figured this out. Instead, he became even more puzzled. With the supreme will's level, if he wanted to destroy the heaven-cursed beast, it should be an extremely easy task, right? Then why did he only suppress the heaven-cursed beast's evolution, and not directly destroy it? Zhou Feit thought for a long time, but could not think of a reason. In the end, it could only be concluded that there was a secret between the heaven-cursed beast and the supreme will that he did not understand. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. It was better not to be too curious about the secret of such an existence. Curiosity killed the cat. When it was time to know, he would naturally know when he could. Then, he was in the mood to look at the surrounding chaos gods race god spirits. Looking at it this way, hey good lord, there were more than 50 master gods alone, and only a dozen of them were master gods of the chaos gods race. The other master gods were master gods of the vassal races of the chaos gods race. There were more than 50,000 true god tier cultivators. Nearly 100 million god spirits came. Most of them were also god spirits of the people of foreign races. Only about 1/5 of them were god spirits of the Chaos God's race. Good God! All troops move out. Zhou Fight was amazed. However, he did not panic. Then, his expression turned cold. What are you doing? He said coldly. Common people's regal. A master god tier advanced grade of the Chaos God race stepped forward. His expression was cold as he looked down at Zhou Fight. You came to our Chaos God's race's territory without even greeting us. Furthermore, you killed our Chaos God's race's master god tier in our territory. Are you provoking our Chaos God's race? Zhou Fight sized up him and coldly said, Who allowed you to speak to this god lord from a high place? Arrogant. This master god tier of the Chaos God's race clearly did not expect Zhou Fight to say that. However, before he could open his mouth, he heard a loud boom. A pure white bolt of lightning suddenly tore through the chaotic airflow and shattered the chaotic divine lightning. It landed on the other party's body and blasted him into powder on the spot, dissipating in the chaotic airflow. A supreme and vast aura descended upon this chaotic domain. All the god spirits looked up at this moment. A pure white eye emitting vast heavenly might was floating above the gods. It was the symbol of the supreme will, supreme eye. The supreme eye looked indifferently at the chaos god army below, as if the other party dared to say anything wrong, the next supreme lightning would strike the other party's body and shatter his soul. The chaos god's race's master gods were shocked when they saw this. Only then did they react. The human lord in front of him was no longer just the former common people's regal. He was now the reserve of the four lords of all races, and had a chance of inheriting the supreme position of the supreme will in the future. Wasn't provoking the other party equivalent to provoking the supreme will? When they thought of this, they silently looked at the master gods of the Chaos God's race, who had just been killed by the supreme lightning. We can't help you with your death. Chapter 14-15 Compensation. Under the deterrence of the Supreme Eye, these Chaos God's race god spirits had no choice but to fly lower, until they were even lower than Zhou Fight. While the Chaos God's race beings felt extremely aggrieved, they had no choice but to accept the reality before them. In the face of the Lord of all races' reserve forces, they indeed could not be as overbearing as they were to other races. Meanwhile, Zhou Fight looked at the master god tier chaos gods who had been reduced to dust with an indifferent expression. He was actually so disrespectful to a reserve lord of all races, after being a god spirit for so long. He deserved to die. He took out the supreme holy sword and pointed the tip of the sword at the master god tiers of the chaos gods, revealing a faint smile. Everyone, since you think that I've offended the so-called dignity of the chaos gods race by coming here, then why don't we start a battlefield and kill each other to determine the truth with the outcome of the war? Don't worry. This emperor will not use the privileges of the lord of all races to bully you. Zhou Fight's words were extremely arrogant. He seemed to be pointing at the other party's nose and saying, Come on. If you're not convinced, let's fight. Deputy Patriarch. Destroy them. When has our Chaos God's race ever suffered such humiliation? One of the master gods of the Chaos God's race could not take it anymore. He came to the side of the Deputy Patriarch of the Chaos God's race and said through gritted teeth. The Chaos God's race's Deputy Patriarch was called Xianchen. He was also a top master god from the Golden Crow race. At that moment, his expression was gloomy, but he was a little hesitant. Start a war with the Lord of all races? Even if the other party said that he wouldn't use the privilege of being a reserve member of the Lord of all races, he wouldn't dare to do so casually. And most importantly, he had just seen with his own eyes that his patriarchs will have been injured by a single angry shout from the other party. That was the strongest expert of the Chaos God's race. Even he was repelled by the other party in one move. Unless he used his clan's foundation, he would probably not be able to deal with the other party. Do you want to use that? The Chaos God's race's Deputy Patriarch was very hesitant. That item was one of the strongest accumulations of the Chaos God's race. Every time they used it, there would be one less accumulation. Unless he faced the true crisis of extermination, he really didn't wish to use that item. At this moment, he seemed to hear a voice that only he could hear. After he heard this, his expression changed slightly. Then, after a few seconds of silence, he looked at the common people's regal. Common people's regal. About today, the Chaos God's race will not bicker with you, seeing that you are a reserve member of the Lord of all races. However, from now on, you are not allowed to kill Chaos God's race citizens for no reason. If you kill the people of the Chaos God's race for no reason again, even if you are a reserve member of the Lord of all races, we will do everything we can to destroy you. Even if this matter is brought to the attention of the Supreme Will, we will not back down. Xianxun said in a deep voice. That will depend on whether the people of the Chaos God's race provoke us. This emperor also doesn't want to kill a few master gods of the Chaos God's race for no reason. However, there are just a few of them who are rushing to their deaths. What do you want this emperor to do? Zhou Feit said calmly. He did not back down at all. I will restrain the people of the chaotic god race. I hope that as a reserve member of the Lord of all races, you can also restrain your subordinates. Xianxun said. Zhou Feit nodded lightly. There's more. Please hand over our worshipped master god's corpse to us. Xianxun looked at the 5 Chaos God's race master god tier corpses around Feng Luo and said, This is the spoils of war of this emperor's generals. You want it? Ask him. This emperor doesn't care, and doesn't want to care. Zhou Feit said with a faint smile. Xianxun and the other members of the Chaos God's race immediately turned to look at Feng Luo. Even though Feng Luo was only a master god, who had just advanced to Master God tier elementary grade, at this moment, he faced the primal chaos divine lords, Master God tiers of the people of foreign races, and the sea of other god spirits without showing any fear. He pointed at the 5 Chaos God's race Master Gods corpses and said indifferently, These 5 Master Gods of yours just saw that I was a general of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, so they disregarded the truth and tried to kill me. If it weren't for my superior skills, I'm afraid that when His Majesty arrived, he would have seen my corpse. Now that you're here, you want to take away the enemy who wants to kill me without even asking what's going on? You're not even going to give me an explanation. Your Chaos God's race is really domineering. Furthermore, as enemies, since they were killed by me, their corpses are my spoils of war. Why should I give it to you? You can have it if you want. Show some sincerity. As soon as these words were spoken, the expressions of the Chaos God's race instantly turned ugly. On the other hand, the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's side had smiles on their faces. After laughing, Zhou Feit's expression became even more serious. He looked at Xianxun and solemnly said, If it wasn't for Feng Luo's explanation just now, this emperor wouldn't have known the reason for this. In that case, you can't leave so easily. These 5 corpses are Feng Luo's spoils of war, so they naturally belong to him. Apart from that, you have to give this emperor an explanation. Otherwise, this emperor will not hesitate even if it means starting a war with the Chaos God's race. Otherwise, this emperor will not hesitate even if it means starting a war with the Chaos God's race. On the Chaos God's race's side, especially the deputy patriarch of the Chaos God's race, Xianxun's expression turned even uglier when he saw Zhou Feit's attitude. At the same time, he also felt that the current situation had become very difficult to handle. The situation became even more passive for them. Most importantly, he knew that what Feng Luo said was true. It was indeed their Master God tier, who had initiated the siege after seeing Feng Luo. Common people's regal. What do you want? Xianxun stared at Zhou Feit. He wanted to bite the other party to death. The other party had clearly killed the 5 Master Gods of the Chaos God's race. But now, they were the ones being threatened. Ever since the destruction of the Chaos human race, the Chaos God's race had never suffered such grievances. Easy. Compensation. You used the 5 Master Gods to besiege the Master God tier of our Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Then I'll compensate each of you with a Master God tier divine artifact. Zhou Feit said calmly. As soon as these words were spoken, the eyes of the Chaos God's race immediately turned red. The Master Gods of the people of foreign races, who followed the Chaos God's race god spirit, looked at Zhou Feit in shock. This newly appointed Lord of all races, was really not afraid of offending the Chaos God race at all. He raised such a ridiculous compensation condition: 5 Master God tier divine artifacts. Even the Chaos Gods race would feel heartache for a period of time. Some of the Chaos Gods race members wanted to scold Zhou Fight, but when they saw the supreme eye above their heads, they resentfully retracted their dirty thoughts. Qianchen was silent for a long time before saying, "I promise you." Chapter 14:16. The shocking video of the 10,000 races. With that, he took out 5 Master God tier elementary grade divine artifacts from his world rings and threw them to Zhou Fight. A final wool guard beside Zhou Fight caught it and put it away. "Let's go." When Qianchen saw this, he took a deep breath and turned to speak to the other Chaos Gods race citizens. "Deputy Patriarch, are we leaving just like that? When has our Chaos Gods race ever suffered such humiliation? Patriarch, let's fight. What's there to be afraid of?" The Master Gods of the Chaos Gods race looked at Qianchen in disbelief. Some of them even said indignantly, "Let's go." Qianchen repeated angrily before suppressing the anger of the chaotic divines. How could he not feel that this was a humiliation? However, his patriarch had already secretly sent a voice transmission to him, asking he to lead the Chaos Gods race to retreat and not provoke the common people's regal for the time being. He might be the deputy patriarch, but he could only listen to the patriarch's orders on such a major matter. The human lord that we looked down on back then. In the end, it has become a huge threat to us. If we had chosen to exterminate this human lord with all our might back then, I don't think today's humiliation will happen again, right? Qianchen was extremely indignant. However, there was no medicine for regret in the world. He could only watch as Zhou Fight flaunted his power in front of him, and even forced him to pay compensation. As the Lord of all races reserve force, the common people's regal will only become stronger and stronger in the future. I have to discuss this with the original spirit race and the shepherd's god race. We can't let the other party develop any further. So what if this guy is a reserve member of the Lord of all races? If you dare to threaten the survival and future of our race, even if you are a reserve member of the Lord of all races, we will drag you down and destroy you. Qianchen's eyes were deep as he thought firmly. In order to ensure the continuation of their race, they were willing to give up everything, even if they had to resist the Lord of all races' reserve forces. The only fortunate thing was that the common people's regal had yet to fully grow up. It was just that his identity was a little difficult to deal with. If the other party became a supreme god realm existence, coupled with the Lord of all races' reserve armor, even if the myriad races joined forces, there was probably no possibility of dealing with common people's regal. When the time comes, no matter how unwilling they were, they could only acknowledge his status as a reserve member of the Lord of all races and obediently work for him. Deputy Patriarch, after this incident, our prestige among the subsidiary races will probably decrease greatly. At this moment, a Master God tier of the Kuanpeng God race walked over and said in Qianchen's ear. Qianchen glanced at the Master Gods and true gods of the people of foreign races. As expected, the way they looked at the Chaos Gods race god spirits was less respectful than before, and they had other thoughts. On the surface, he entered the arena with a calm expression, but he sighed inwardly. However, there was no choice. That was all he could do for now. As long as we destroy the common people's regal and the blazing sun divine kingdom, the things we lose will only be returned double. He thought silently. The Chaos Gods race left with the allied forces of the people of foreign races. Zhou Fight, and the others, and the people of foreign races, had different expressions on their faces as they watched the Chaos Gods race retreat. It's hard to imagine that the primal Chaos Divine clan, which has always claimed to be a top-notch bloodline race, is scared away by us without even daring to fight. It's hard to imagine that the primal Chaos Divine clan, which has always claimed to be a top-notch bloodline race, is scared away by us without even daring to fight. Times have really changed. Following His Majesty is indeed the right choice. One thought so a long time ago. The soldiers and god spirits discussed animatedly. Most of them were very excited. From the Chaos Gods race's attitude towards them, it was enough to prove the prestige and status of their blazing sun divine kingdom in the myriad worlds. They were no longer the lords of all races in the past. It had surpassed the lords of all races, and was truly a top-notch lord faction that stood in the myriad worlds. Among the people present, only Zhou Fight, Zhou Marshall, and the other clones looked at each other with disappointment in their eyes. I thought that the other party wouldn't be able to resist fighting us. This is also good. Before we officially start a war with the Chaos Gods race in the future, we can weaken a portion of the Chaos Gods race's strength. I didn't expect the other party to be so cowardly and actually hold back and retreat. I'm afraid this isn't cowardice. From the expression on his face before he left, I'm afraid he wants to prepare something big for us. Forget it, let's just leave. In any case, our original intention for coming here was to conquer the chaotic divine demons and obtain the chaotic divine treasure. Meeting them is just an accident. That's right, Zhou Fight concluded. He said calmly. The other party wants to prepare a big one for us, so we need more time to develop. We will only become stronger and stronger at an unimaginable speed. We will only be stronger than now when their preparations are done. Now they are retreating in fear. We will definitely win in the future. Zhou Fight said calmly. As Zhou's main clone, his character was confident, brave, good at fighting and calm. He would always give everyone confidence. It was impossible for him to be afraid. Not long after, a video of this unprecedented war was leaked by someone and circulated to all the races in the world at an astonishing speed. The camera angle in the video was shot from a bird's eye view. For the time being, he did not know who had filmed and circulated this video. However, that wasn't important. What was important was the content of the video. The video started with the scene of the heaven-cursed beast snatching the book of the god spirit. Then, the Chaos Gods race army descended. The heaven-cursed beast was repelled, and the Chaos Gods race was scared away. In the end, the blazing sun divine kingdom calmly teleported and disappeared from the Chaos Sea. Only then did the video officially end. All the race leaders who saw the video could not believe what was happening. The Chaos Gods race, which was one of the top 3 bloodlines, actually admitted defeat in front of the Common People's Regal? Even though the Common People's Regal was a reserve member of the Lord of all races and had an extraordinary tier status, it shouldn't be so cowardly, right? They did not believe the contents of the video. However, with the news about this video spread by the subsidiary races of the Chaos Gods race, even if the various races were unwilling to believe it, they had no choice but to believe it. The Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, led by the Common People's Regal, had truly become a top force that was not inferior to the 3 top bloodline races. From this moment on, the situation of the myriad races in the world had truly changed. Chapter 14:17. Transformation of the Regal Sage Dao Sword. War Summary. 1. After Zhou Fight and the rest returned, they did not rest immediately. After eliminating 2 chaotic divine demons today, and experiencing the Chaos Gods race incident, he had only spent 1 morning. There was still a lot of time left. He could continue to do other things. For example, conquering some Divine Kingdom Lord factions, to satisfy some of the requirements to upgrade to an intermediate grade Divine Kingdom. Upgrading an intermediate grade Divine Kingdom required not only 50 Chaos Divine Treasures. He also needed to complete the 3 conditions of conquering 10 primary Divine Kingdoms under the Crimson Overlord, 0 out of 10. Conquering 5 primary Divine Kingdoms that were not under the Crimson Overlord, 0 out of 5. Conquering any intermediate Divine Kingdom Lord faction, and possessing its true God tier intermediate divine token, 0 to 1. This was naturally not difficult for the current Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. They only needed to take some time out to do it. This spare time is perfect. Hence, after formulating a simple battle plan, Zhou Fight brought Bai Yun and the rest and set off again. At night, Zhou Fight and the others returned victorious with a huge amount of loot. In the Divine Kingdom world, Zhou, who had already woken up from his cultivation state, was looking at the summary of today's battle. For the entire day, Zhou Feit led his army and fought everywhere in the High Continent to expand the territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. He conquered a total of 82 beginner-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 51 intermediate-grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 21 advanced-grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions, and 3 Overlord-level Lord factions. In total, they had eliminated more than 60 trillion soldiers from 62 capital units, more than 150 million god spirits, more than 160,000 true god tiers, and 82 master gods. Such a battle record almost shocked the entire High Continent, and even the myriad worlds. No high-level bloodline race could achieve such shocking results in the same period of time. Only the 3 top bloodline races could do this. This also proved once again that the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom's combat strength was indeed comparable to the 3 top bloodline races. And after conquering so many Divine Kingdom Lord factions, the war wealth he obtained was also huge. The army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had obtained a total of about 80,000 capital units of various levels of mist cores, origin crystals, skill books, equipment and basic materials. There were also 10,232,389,787,688 green bronze tier Lord Talent crystal fragments, 92,342 legendary tier, and below Lord Talent spheres. A large number of Lord Talent crystal fragments of other levels. There were also 3 capital units, 121,487,821,200 million units of divine crystals, from low-tier deity level to high-tier deity level, 2,131,238,799 true god-tier divine crystals, 334, 231, 231 master god-tier divine crystals, 21,143,499,800,000 low-level to high-tier deity-level divine artifacts, 21, 23 million true god-tier divine artifacts, 2,288 master god-tier divine artifacts. There were a total of about 8 trillion divine spark fragments, god-tier medicinal herbs, god-tier ingredients, god-tier ores, god-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 394. 5 million master god-tier herbs, god-tier ingredients, god-tier ores, god-tier blueprints, and other treasures. In terms of insight defection, Zhou Feit and the Lords of the Star Alliance had incited a total of 21 capital units, with 7,676,234,231,233,424 soldiers, 38. 181. 231 god spirits, 1,092 true god tiers, and 12 master gods. In total, there were 8 master god tiers from the people of foreign races who surrendered. In total, there were 20 master gods. In addition, in terms of the advancement of god spirits, 20,121,231 legendary tier advanced grade soldiers had been promoted to low-tier deity-level elementary grade god spirits. There were also 411 high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits, who had advanced to true god-tier elementary grade god spirits. Another 4 top-notch true gods of the human race, and 2 top-notch true gods of the people of foreign races, felt their master god-tier bottleneck, and applied to enter the reincarnation sacred palace, to cultivate in seclusion, in an attempt to break through to the master god tier realm. Zhou's original military strength was 63 capital units, 598,715,268,289 soldiers, 99,027,760 god spirits, 24,200 true gods, and 60 master gods. Now, with the addition of these insight defection troops, and the newly promoted god spirit powerhouses, the troops under he had reached 85 capital units, 366,383,238,482 soldiers, 157,328,221 god spirits, 27,293 true gods, and 80 master gods. The number of god spirits has exceeded 100 million. Zhou nodded slightly feeling very satisfied. The number of god spirits exceeding 100 million was the threshold for the god spirits of the top bloodline races. And when the number of master god tier subordinates under him exceeded 100, they would officially be comparable to the threshold of the number of master god tier subordinates of the 3 top bloodline races. He suddenly thought of something as he thought of this. He sensed the lowest potential of the subjects of the divine kingdom. Then a smile appeared on his face. Sure enough, after Feng Luo became the heavenly saber god lord, the lowest potential of the human subjects of the blazing sun divine kingdom had officially broken through the bottleneck of the extraordinary tier advanced grade and reached the epic tier elementary grade. This also means, in the future, as long as the human subjects of the blazing sun divine kingdom embarked on the path of an extraordinary tier and cultivated diligently, their lowest achievement in the future would be an epic tier expert. Good. Zhou was even more satisfied. Then, he sensed that the potential of the human subjects had increased from epic tier elementary grade to epic tier intermediate grade. He estimated how many new master god tiers would be needed to help them improve. In the end, he was astounded to discover that if the human subjects of the blazing sun divine kingdom wanted to raise the minimum potential of the epic tier elementary grade to the minimum potential of the epic tier intermediate grade, they would need the help of at least 5 new human master gods. Good lord, at least 5 new human master gods. Zhou clicked his tongue. It was getting harder and harder to increase the lower limit of his potential. Zhou opened the map of the High Continent after reading the war summary. The huge High Continent was an irregular oval, and the blazing sun divine kingdom was on the southeast side of the High Continent. It only occupied an area the size of a fingernail on the tablecloth-sized map. Chapter 14:18. Transformation of the Regal Sage Dao Sword. War Summary. 2. Currently, the territory of the blazing sun divine kingdom in the entire High Continent is only about 1,000th of the entire High Continent. With the speed at which my forces are developing, I should be able to capture the entire High Continent within 3 months. Zhou thought to himself. The High Continent was the center of the supreme great cosmos. There were definitely huge benefits to occupying the entire High Continent. Then, he told Zhou Fight and the others about his decision and asked them to prepare a detailed battle plan. He then returned to the Reincarnation Sacred Palace and took out the Supreme Holy Sword, preparing to continue comprehending the Lord's laws. The Supreme Holy Sword could increase the comprehension of his Lord's law by 20 times. With such a high comprehension bonus, Zhou was confident that he could raise his God Spirit realm to the true God tier advanced grade, or even Master God tier level in a short period of time. However, at that moment, Zhou suddenly frowned. He flipped his right hand, and the Regal Sage Dao Sword appeared in his hand. What was different from before was that the Regal Sage Dao Sword was actually trembling endlessly and emitting a dazzling golden light. Zhou was surprised. He saw the Regal Sage Dao Sword transform into a golden stream of light in the next second before he could react. It shot into the sky of the Divine Kingdom world and immediately disappeared into space. Zhou was not in a hurry to catch up. He made a mental divination first. After confirming that there was no danger on this trip, he immediately teleported and disappeared. In the starry sky of the Supreme Great Cosmos, the Regal Sage Dao Sword was quietly floating here, emitting a dazzling light. Right at that moment, a figure wearing the Emperor Dragon robe appeared. It was Zhou. He looked at the Regal Sage Dao Sword that was quietly floating in the starry sky not far away. He did not summon it over. Instead, he looked up at the starry sky above the Regal Sage Dao Sword. A divine dragon slowly appeared in the starry sky. His entire body was golden in color. He had deer-like horns, camel-like head, rabbit-like eyes, snake-like legs, clam-like belly, fish-like scales, eagle-like claws, tiger-like paws, and cow-like ears. A pair of golden eyes were vast and domineering. They looked at the golden dragon eyes, as if they were staring at the entire supreme great cosmos. It was the regal dragon, Aozun. Your Excellency Aozun? Zhou said in surprise. Even though he rarely met the #1 dragon in the world, He had a deep impression of him. Coupled with the fact that he was the symbol of a regal, it was difficult for him not to have a deep impression of him. Your Excellency, common people's regal. Aozun's voice rumbled. I'm here at First Venerable's summons to join Your Excellency's Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom and conclude a contract with Your Excellency. Zhou was enlightened and was pleasantly surprised. He did not expect First Venerable's 10 sacred blessings Lord Talent. The contractor of his heavenly dragon contract was the Regal Dragon, His Excellency Aozun. Welcome to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Zhou smiled. While he had the highest status among the dragons on the surface, as the #1 dragon of the dragon race, in reality, the Regal Dragon's status was actually more extraordinary, even higher than the First Venerable, because the Lord's Law was supreme, and the path that the Regal Dragon took was also the Lord's Law path, in terms of real status. Moreover, in terms of strength, Regal Dragons, who were also Master God tier advanced grade, were most likely far stronger than First Venerable. Lords were invincible among their peers after all. The reason why the Regal Dragon was not ranked among the top 10 Master God tiers was probably because the other party was too mysterious and did not have many records of fighting. Common people's regal. You have the Regal Sage Dao sword, so you and I naturally have a higher level contract. Therefore, there's no need to conclude this heavenly dragon contract. I'm in a special position, so it's not convenient for me to fight for you with my real body. However, I can become your weapon, the sharpest weapon in your hands. Is Your Excellency willing to accept it? The Regal Dragon looked at Zhou and asked. Of course. Zhou agreed without much hesitation. He didn't lack Master God tiers, nor did he lack dragons. He was not even lacking in legendary dragons. Therefore, to him, it really didn't matter if he signed the contract or not. Now, he was even more curious about what a weapon transformed from the true form of this legendary dragon would look like. Okay, the Regal Dragon wasn't surprised when it heard this. Then it roared and soared into the sky. Following that, it transformed into a surging golden light that charged into the Regal Sage Dao sword and disappeared. Zhou immediately looked forward to it. He waved his right hand, and the Regal Sage Dao sword flew into his hand obediently. Zhou looked over. Divine Artifact Name: Regal Sage Dao Sword. Grade of Divine Artifact: Grade 1 Supreme God Realm, Enhanceable. Divine Artifact Law 1, Regal Prestige. As a Regal recognized by the legendary tier dragon race, Regal Dragon, you will naturally have supreme pressure when you control the Regal Sage Dao Sword. Any existence in front of you will feel an extremely strong pressure. At the same time, the pressure on any existence will not cause any negative impact on you. You can take the initiative to activate and turn off the effect of this Divine Artifact Law. Divine Artifact Law 2, Regal Charm. You are a natural Regal recognized by the legendary tier dragon race, Regal Dragon. You have an indescribable extreme temperament and charm. When you persuade others to submit to you, they will easily submit to your temperament and charm, and be willing to serve you until they die. When you want to do something, your subordinates will help you with all their might. Your enemies might even defect from their faction and become your subordinates. Divine Artifact Law 3, Regal Luck. As a natural Regal, your luck exceeds 90% of the life forms in the world. You will often encounter good luck in your daily life. When you encounter danger, it will be easier for you to turn misfortune into fortune. Divine Artifact Law 4, Destiny Regal. As a natural Regal, you are extremely compatible with the Regal Law. When comprehending the Regal Law, your comprehension ability will increase by 100 times. Divine Artifact Law 5, Summon the Regal Dragon. The Regal Dragon is your combat partner. When you need help, you can summon the Regal Dragon from the Regal Sage Dao Sword anytime and anywhere to fight alongside you. Divine Artifact Law 6, Divine Emperor Divine Weapon. The Regal Sage Dao Sword is a Lord Law type Supreme Divine Artifact. The user must be a Lord Law type God Spirit. When using the Regal Sage Dao Sword, the power of any Lord Law skill will increase by 10 times. Prompt 1. The soul has been forced to recognize you as its master. It cannot be removed. Prompt 2. As the grade of the Regal Sage Dao Sword continues to increase, the effects of its various divine artifact laws will also increase in enhancement. It can be upgraded to Master God Tier Advanced Grade. After Zhou saw the effects of this divine artifact, he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. After this Regal Sage Dao Sword fused with the Regal Dragon's main body, it actually directly advanced to a Grade 1 Supreme Divine Artifact. Moreover, it was an enhanceable Grade 1 Supreme Divine Artifact. In fact, the last notification even hinted that this Regal Sage Dao Sword could at most be raised to the level of transcending a sacred artifact. What kind of concept was transcending a sacred artifact? That was a supreme sacred artifact that only supreme existences with wills could possess. As far as Zhou knew, in the entire universe, only the supreme will and the Crimson Overlord had reached this level. In fact, at this level, they could already break free from the restrictions of the universe and go to the world of the illusionary race. However, for some reason, they did not choose to do so. Instead, they remained in the supreme world. As an existence of the will, the Supreme Will had a transcendent sacred artifact called the Supreme Book. Crimson Overlord also had a transcendent sacred artifact called the Scarlet Sage Seal. Other than that, even the other will-level existences of the two universes did not have any transcendent sacred artifacts. And now, he actually had an embryo that transcended the sacred weapon. Even if it had not grown to the level of transcending the sacred artifact, its preciousness was enough to make countless will-level existences go crazy over it. Your Excellency Regal Dragon, you've really given me a huge gift. Zhou looked at the Regal Sage Dao Sword in his hand and muttered to himself. Chapter 1419. True God Tier Advanced Grade. Law Skill Land of Earth, a Minister of the King. Zhou 8. Zhou looked at the Regal Sage Dao Sword in his hand. The Regal Sage Dao Sword's ability was also very shocking apart from its extremely high growth potential. Divine Artifact Law 123 did not change from its previous ability, so there was no need to say anything for the time being. The natural regal effect of Divine Artifact Law 4 actually increased his Lord's Law basic comprehension from 10 times to 100 times. This increase was even more exaggerated than the increase that the Supreme Holy Sword had given him. It was unknown how exaggerated his comprehension of the Lord's laws had become. As for the Regal Dragon summoned by Divine Artifact Law 5, it could only be summoned once in the past. Moreover, after summoning it once, this Divine Artifact Law would disappear forever. Yet this Divine Artifact Law had actually become a permanent summon. Its use could be said to have greatly increased. As for the Regal Divine Weapon with Divine Artifact Law 6, it was a newly added Divine Artifact Law. The effect of this newly added Divine Artifact Law was also very simple and violent. The effect of any Lord Law skill would increase by 10 times, which meant, be it the King, the Myriad Methods Star Palm, or the All the Land in the World Belongs to the King, the effects and power of these 3 Lord Law skills would increase by 10 times because of the Regal Sage Dao Sword. It had to be known that these 3 Law skills were Zhou's 3 strongest trump cards to begin with. By increasing their power by 10 times, it also meant that Zhou's strength had undergone a new surge. As expected of an enhanceable Supreme Divine Artifact with Lord Laws, this Supreme Divine Artifact alone is not inferior to the enhancement of 10 Supreme Divine Artifacts combined. Zhou looked at the transformed Regal Sage Dao Sword in his hand with burning eyes. After watching for a while, Zhou teleported back to his world of gods without hesitation and entered the Reincarnation Sacred Palace to begin comprehending the Lord's laws. He wanted to take a look at how much had his comprehension improved with the enhancement of the Supreme Holy Sword and the Regal Sage Dao Sword. The next day, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou's divine sense left the time world, and he slowly opened his eyes. After he woke up, he immediately sensed the changes in his body. Soon shock and surprise appeared on his face. I advanced to True God Tier Advanced Grade God Spirit in one night. Moreover, I feel like I'm not far from breaking through the Master God bottleneck and entering the Master God Tier level. Zhou was shocked. One had to know that it was impossible for him to improve his nomological comprehension and cultivation realms so much in a short night, even with the help of the importation scroll and the reincarnation sacred palace. However, he had actually easily reached this stage without relying on the importation scroll. My current Lord's Law comprehension is simply unbelievable. I feel that even if I'm comprehending and cultivating the Lord's laws at the Master God tier level now, the efficiency of my nomological comprehension won't be much worse. I'll still have genius level comprehension. When I reach the Master God tier realm, I'm afraid I won't waste too much time in the Master God tier realm. Moreover, I'll advance to the Supreme God realm in a very short period of time. When Zhou sensed this, he was even more shocked. His current comprehension and aptitude were ridiculously terrifying. The Supreme God realm would probably only be his bottom line, as long as nothing happened to him midway. He felt that he had a high chance of reaching the level of willpower. And this was not over yet. He had a thought. A brand new law skill information interface appeared in front of him. Law skill name: Land of Earth, a Minister of the King. Law skill quality: True God tier advanced grade. Introduction to law skill power. When you activate this law skill domain, the living beings in the domain will be affected by your domain and quietly gradually change their thoughts and will. In the end, they will become subjects that submit to you from the bottom of their hearts. You can consume half of the chaotic sacred power in your body and instantly change the thoughts and will of the life forms in the domain, turning them all into subjects loyal to you. Currently, you can affect life forms below the True God tier advanced grade. After Zhou finished reading, he couldn't help but click his tongue and mutter to himself. All the land in the world belongs to the king can directly turn the territory of other races into its territory. Now this land of earth, a minister of the king, can forcefully transform the subjects of other races in the domain into his own. These two law skills are really a perfect match, and it can be used as a combination skill. Once I use this combination skill, most of the other party's territory and most of the subjects will probably instantly belong to me. I'll be able to subdue them without fighting. Zhou felt that these two law skills should be able to save he a lot of time in the future, especially when it came to conquering other races. The Supreme Holy Sword and the Regal Sage Dao Sword have simply enhanced me too much. After a night, I advanced to the True God tier realm and comprehended a new law skill. I didn't even dare to think about this progress in the past. After Zhou sighed, he began to get down to business. He first used his talent doppelganger technique to create his 8th clone. This avatar was named Zhou 8. The name was very sloppy and casual. However, Zhou 8 surprisingly accepted this name. Zhou arranged for him to be assigned to Zhou Manage, so that he could help him deal with the daily government affairs of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, seeing that he had a good personality. Now that the territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was getting wider, the various political matters were getting more and more complicated. Zhou Manage was very busy handling so many government affairs alone, even with the help of Zheng Yuanqi and the other court officials. It was time to arrange a helper for Zhou Manage. He couldn't be busy with everything. The external and internal matters of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom were equally important. After making arrangements for Zhou 8, Zhou flew to Mugu and obtained the 32 capital units recruitment books and class change certificate with Wuxia. Then, he came to the gate of summoning and used the 16 capital units recruitment books to recruit 16 capital units recruits. Including the number of soldiers in my original 85 capital units, my soldiers have officially broken through 100 capital units and reached the total strength of 117 capital units. The troops of the capital units. This number of troops is also comparable to the total number of troops of the 3 top bloodline races. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Now, their Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was already on par with any of the 3 top bloodline races, in terms of the number of ordinary soldiers and ordinary god spirits. Next, as long as the number of True God tier and the number of Master God tier were equal, he would really not be inferior to the 3 top bloodline races on the surface. Of course, Zhou was confident that even if their blazing sun divine kingdom was inferior to the top bloodline races in terms of the number of Master God tier and True God tier, their true combat strength was no longer inferior to the 3 top bloodline races. It was absolutely impossible to defeat him unless the 3 races joined forces. This was also the reason why Zhou allowed Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu to lead the army to the Chaos Sea to eliminate the chaotic divine demons. He was not afraid that the Chaos Gods race alone could pose any threat to Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu. Chapter 1420, Dark Holy Dragon Derator. 6 new Master Gods. Then, he spent another 2 high-tier deity-level elementary grade divine crystals to summon today's new subject. In the end, he realized that he had summoned more than 225 million new subjects today. He summoned more than 33 million subjects than usual. Furthermore, among these new subjects, there were 13 true God-tier elementary grade God spirits, summoned by the glory of the Pioneer 12. Zhou nodded slightly. Not bad. Then, he spent another 100 low-level true God-tier elementary grade divine crystals to summon 66,666,660 pure-blooded dragons. Perhaps it was because he was too lucky, or because the probability of the original Dragon Abyss summoning a legendary dragon had increased. He actually summoned another legendary dragon among the legendary dragons summoned today. Zhou looked at the legendary dragon. This legendary dragon was more than 5,000 light-years tall. It was completely black and had 3 pitch-black dragon horns on its head. Its dark black pupils were like the eyes of the night. Zhou looked over and felt as if the world and universe had turned dark. Fortunately, his will had already stepped into the will divine transformation realm. As soon as he fell into the other party's dark will, he immediately broke free, and his soul's will regained clarity. This legendary dragon's will is also quite powerful. It shouldn't be too far off from the will divine transformation realm, Zhou thought. Then, he looked at the other party. Soon, attribute information appeared. Dragon race, Derator, race, legendary dragon, dark holy dragon, growing stage, adulthood, strength level, true god tier elementary grade, true strength, master god tier advanced grade, skills, dark dragon breath, holy dragon might, law god body, darkness night, law skill absolute darkness, law skill chaos explosion, law skill dark boiling, law skill dark demon abyss, law skill shadow clone, law skill ultimate night, dark language, dragon language magic mastery, dark element magic mastery, dark holy dragon armor, dark holy dragon crown, master god tier elemental immunity, awakening degree 100%, master god tier physical immunity, awakening degree 100%, master god tier soul immunity, awakening degree 100%, dark will condensation method, will is like light, potential, master god tier advanced grade world limit, loyalty, 85, character, cold, heartless, crazy, quiet, worshipping the strong. Pet description, a legendary dragon among pure-blooded dragons, a unique existence in the myriad worlds. It holds the ultimate power of light. In terms of potential, it can be called one of the incarnations of the law of light in the myriad worlds. Dark Holy Dragon Derator. It's actually it. Zhou was a little surprised. The Dark Holy Dragon, Derator, and the Light Sacred Dragon, Ingersoll had always been at odds with the dragons. He did not expect that this summoning would actually summon Ingersoll's sworn enemy. He subconsciously looked in Ingersoll's direction. At this moment, Ingersoll was sleeping on his treasure in the inner world of the Eternal Mothership. After the Dark Holy Dragon, Derator appeared, it immediately looked up warily at Derator. Derator also raised its head, as if it sensed something, and met Ingersoll's gaze. The two dragons looked at each other. Ingersoll suddenly bared its teeth and growled. Derator looked at Ingersoll for a few seconds, then smiled lightly, as if it was disdainful. Zhou looked at the expression on Derator's face, and understood what it meant. It was showing its disdain that Ingersoll had yet to recover to its peak strength, and was insufficient to be its opponent. Ingersoll also understood what Derator meant. It was very unconvinced, but it knew that would be asking for torture if it went up against the other party now. Therefore, after letting out a cold snort, it did not look at the other party again, and continued to lie on its treasures to recuperate. With the Lord talent of the War Master God, it believed that it would soon recover to its peak strength. At that time, it would not be too late to fight this guy. The feud between Derator, and it could be traced back to the first light sacred dragon and the first dark holy dragon. Therefore, it didn't care much about temporary concessions and victory. It was clearly the same for Derator. Therefore, it didn't bully Ingersoll when it was weak. Jojo watched this scene and clicked his tongue in wonder. These two legendary dragons actually followed some sort of rules as they fought. How rare! With a thought from him, the dark holy dragon disappeared from the Cosmos Emperor's internal world and appeared in front of him the next second. "Greetings, Your Majesty." The dark holy dragon, Derator said respectfully. Even though it was a legendary dragon, it did not feel arrogant facing this regal, who had already become famous among the myriad races in the world. The other party had already far surpassed it, as the number one god below the supreme god realm after all. "You're too kind, Your Excellency. I've long heard of Your Excellency's reputation." Jojo smiled. This was true. The light sacred dragon and the dark holy dragon were known as the twin heroes of light and darkness among the legendary dragons. Legend has it that it also had a combination law skill that could allow the light sacred dragon and the dark holy dragon to erupt with power comparable to a supreme law skill when they joined forces. This mysterious combination law skill allowed the dragon race to avoid many extermination calamities. Therefore, it was a very famous move even in the myriad worlds. Many god spirits knew about this legendary dragon race. Even though the light sacred dragon and the dark holy dragon have a lot of friction on usual days, when they encounter a racial crisis and need them to work together to retreat the enemy, they will immediately abandon their past enmity and work together to retreat the enemy. It can be seen that there were no life and death feuds that disregard the survival of their race. "I don't think I need to care about their feud," Jojo thought to himself. At this moment, boom, 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 boom. 6 beams of light that emitted a majestic master god tier aura shot into the starry sky. The god spirits of the myriad worlds were already numb to the point of being used to such a scene. However, they were still a little surprised. That was because there were actually 6 master gods who advanced at the same time. Such a grand occasion had never happened even among the 3 top bloodline races. The Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had broken a record. Jojo smiled faintly, though not as excited as he was before. A moment later, the advancement phenomenon gradually disappeared. 4 new master gods of the human race, and 2 new master gods from the skeleton race, and the Leviathan race came to Jojo. "Greetings, Your Majesty." X6 The 6 master gods said excitedly and respectfully. "Congratulations on becoming master gods. As usual, I'll give you some small gifts." Jojo smiled faintly. Then, he waved his right hand and 6 world rings appeared out of thin air in front of the 6 new master god tiers. "Thank you for the reward, Your Majesty." The eyes of the 6 new master gods lit up, and they immediately said respectfully. Then, they received their respective gifts with both hands and entered with their divine consciousness to check the gifts inside. They were immediately so happy when they saw the 6 master god tier divine artifacts inside that they held their breaths. Jojo chatted briefly with they before releasing them back to the main combat army and prepared to head to the Chaos Sea to hunt the chaotic divine demons. Chapter 1421. True God Tier Advanced Grade Law Skill King. 3 Chaotic Divine Demons. After the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom gathered, Zhou Fight followed the old method and arrived at the Primal Chaos Ruins through Gospel of Homecoming. Then, he took out Bodhi Supreme and asked, "Bodhi Supreme, see if there are any new chaotic divine demons in the Chaos Sea today?" An answer to a formal question. "Go ahead." Zhou Fight no longer cared about such an opportunity to clarify his doubts. This was because he had already accumulated more than 20 formal questions to resolve. It was enough for a long time. "Sure, let me check." Bodhi Supreme began to work, A layer of faint black fluctuation instantly spread in all directions with Bodhi Supreme as the center. It quickly exceeded the range of the Master God tier present. Zhou Fight and the others waited quietly. A moment later, my luck today is not bad either. There are actually 3 chaotic divine demons wandering and cultivating in the Chaos Sea. Normally speaking, with how strict that chaotic divine demon Di Huang is, it's impossible for him to release so many chaotic divine demons usually. In the past, it would be good enough if 1 chaotic divine demon sneaked out every day. When the chaotic divine demons Di Huang were especially strict, not a single chaotic divine demon could escape for a day or even a few days. Bodhi Supreme was a little surprised. Zhou Fight nodded nonchalantly. Then, he suddenly thought of something and fell into deep thought. Lucky. Could this be the effect of the providence that he had augmented himself with as the reserve force of the chaotic divine demons and the regal sage Dao sword? Otherwise, how could he be so lucky to encounter so many chaotic divine demons once or twice? He thought for a moment and stopped thinking about it. This was only the 2nd day since he arrived in the Chaos Sea after all. The time was too short, and he could not conclude this. Don't worry about it. Tell this emperor the location. Zhou Fight said. Sure. Bodhi Supreme nodded and sent the locations of the 3 chaotic divine demons to Zero. Then, Zero projected them in front of Zhou Fight and the other generals. Get ready to work. Zhou Fight smiled. It seemed that not only could he obtain a chaos divine treasure that satisfied the needs of the upgrade territory today, but he could also obtain an additional batch of chaos divine treasures to prepare for the next upgrade. Yes, Your Majesty. The soldiers and god spirits said respectfully. Zero, head to the nearest chaotic divine demons. Bai Yin said to Zero. All right, Your Excellency Legion Commander. Zero said. Then, he piloted the Eternal Mothership and flew towards the nearest chaotic divine demons. Half an hour later, they rushed to the location of the first chaotic divine demons. Just like yesterday, Zhou Fight took the initiative to appear in front of the other party, preparing to use force first. But before that, he first used the king to raise his strength to the level of Master God tier advanced grade. After cultivating to the true God tier advanced grade, the effects of the king had also increased greatly. Law skill name. King. Law skill quality. True God tier advanced grade. Introduction. As a true God spirit on the Lord's Law path, you can mark 50% of the territorial subjects and control everything they have, including appearance, bloodlines, skills, weapons, law skills, and even illusory fate. When you control everything that the marked subject has, the subject doesn't have to suffer any negative effects. According to Zhou's guess, when he advanced to the Master God tier level, he could mark all the subjects under him. When the time comes, the more subjects he had under him, the more power he could have. And that was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that he could sense that with the help of the regal sage Dao sword, although he had only marked and grasped the power of 90% of the territory's subjects, he now had the full power of 900% of the territory's subjects. Is it because of the regal sage Dao sword? The effect of any lord's law skill will increase by 10 times. This effect is simply too powerful. Zhou Fight was amazed. He now felt that he was still very far from the supreme god realm. However, it was already much stronger than his previous self. He could at least beat up 5 or 6 of his old self. This is only a king. The myriad methods star palm. All the land in the world belongs to the king, and the coast of the earth are all ministers. The more Zhou Fight thought about it, the happier he became. This regal sage Dao sword was indeed worthy of being a supreme divine artifact exclusive to Lord Law-type god spirits. The enhancement to a Lord Law-type god spirit was too terrifying. He did not sigh much. Zhou Fight flew in front of the chaotic divine demon and looked at it. This chaotic divine demons was also very huge. It was 90,000 light years in diameter. His body was like a moving green wind, and only his eyes were dark red. Hello, how should I address you? This emperor is the monarch of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, God Lord Blazing Sunday. Zhou Fight said. I am the wind chaotic divine demons, demon wind. His voice was hoarse. The moment he opened his mouth, The nine heavens squall that filled the sky swept up the surrounding chaotic airflow. He looked at Zhou fight and felt an unparalleled sense of threat. It was as if the other party only needed to raise a finger to crush him. This made him find it very unbelievable. The other party was a Master God Tier Advanced Grade God Spirit. And he was also a Master God Tier Advanced Grade God Spirit. However, why did he have such a ridiculous feeling towards him? Your Excellency Demon Wind, how about a deal? I'll offer 2 Master God Tier Divine Artifacts or 2,000 Master God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Crystals to buy a chance to kill you once and obtain the Chaos Divine Artifact in your body. You're immortal. That's not a bad deal for you, is it? Zhou fight smiled. You really have bad intentions. Don't you know that even if we can constantly be reborn, if we consume too much of our origin because of rebirth, not only will our strength decrease, but we will even be in danger of dying after our origin is exhausted. Mo Feng was furious and roared. Zhou fight ignored the violent wind that blew at him. Even his hair was not blown away as he continued to ask, "Then how can your Excellency be willing to agree to my deal? I want 4 Master God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Artifacts and 4,000 Master God Tier Divine Crystals." Demon Wind roared. Zhou fight. Scholar Jiaqian, right? You can only choose one of the 4 Master God Tier Divine Artifacts and 4,000 Master God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Crystals. You should know that if this Emperor wants to kill you, it's actually not difficult. Zhou fight said calmly. Then, 4,000 Master God Tier Advanced Grade Divine Crystals. Mo Feng hesitated for a moment and said. Zhou fight was a little surprised. He actually didn't choose a Master Divine Artifact that was obviously more precious and rare. However, he had no intention of interfering. He could choose whatever he wanted. I'll give it to you now? Yes, I want it now. Zhou fight did not say anything when he heard that. He took out 4,000 divine crystals and handed them to the other party. Give me a moment. After saying this, Mo Feng turned into a green wind and flew away. Your Majesty, are we going to let he leave just like that? Bai could not help but ask. Don't worry. He will return as long as he isn't stupid, Zhou fight said with a faint smile. As expected, in less than a moment, the other party returned. Chapter 1422. 94 Chaos Divine Treasures Kill Me. The Demon Wind said directly. Let's hope there's another chance to trade. Zhou fight said with a faint smile. When Demon Wind heard this, he really considered it seriously for a while before saying, if there's a chance, I'll come out and find you again. Zhou fight smiled when he heard that. Then, he nodded slightly. Then, he raised his hand without hesitation and slapped out with the Myriad Method Star Palm. Under the tenfold enhancement of the Regal Sage Dao Sword, the Myriad Method Star Palm, whose power had already increased greatly, was really like a supreme divine palm that controlled the stars in the sky and held the myriad divine kingdom. All the gods would die with a single palm strike. When Mo Feng saw this scene, his divine body could not help but tremble. He cursed inwardly. Didn't I say that I could let you kill me? Why is it such a ruthless killing move? Is it necessary? He indeed did not know. Zhou fight's strength had just increased, and it was time for him to test his moves with his opponent. Seeing that a live target like Demon Wind had come, he naturally could not help but try. Then, Demon Wind was killed by Zhou fight with this enhanced version of the Myriad Method Star Palm. Demon Wind's divine body originally had an extremely high negating effect on nomological attacks, but it was useless in front of the Myriad Method Star Palm. It was directly crushed into a breeze. If this was the reason why Zhou fight had deliberately held back and wanted to retrieve the loots, he would not even be able to keep this breeze. Then Zhou fight extracted the other party's loots. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent notification. Your spoils of war have been enhanced by Heavenly Fate Di Huang. Perfect loots. Quality +1. Title hint. Your spoils of war have been affected by the titles of Strongest Lord of All Races and Strongest Lord of All Races. Number of loots +150%. Title hint. Your spoils of war have been affected by the title of King of 10,000 Kings. The number of loots increased by 100%. Lord Talent notification. Your spoils of war have been enhanced by Heavenly Fate Di Huang Explosive Special Explosion. The number of loots increased by 1000%. Lord Talent notification. You have obtained perfect loots, 40 Chaos Divine Treasures. Lucky Star notification. You have obtained a special loots the Puppet of the Chaotic Divine Demons. Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou Fight nodded in satisfaction after reading it. I now have as many as 86 Chaos Divine Treasures. It's completely enough for me to upgrade my territory. But even so, he naturally could not let go of the remaining 2 Chaotic Divine Demons. His territory would continue to level up in the future after all. Then, everyone boarded the Eternal Mothership and headed for the location of the second Chaotic Divine Demon. 2 hours later, they found this Chaotic Divine Demon. This Chaotic Divine Demon was called the Deep Earth Chaotic Divine Demons. It grasped the nomological power of Earth and reincarnation. Zhou Fight negotiated with the other party. The content was exactly the same as what Mo Feng had said, but the other party did not believe Zhou Fight at all. He was furious after hearing half of it. Then, he ignored the difference in strength between the two and attacked Zhou Fight directly. Zhou Fight also had a headache when he saw this. If it were an ordinary Master God tier, they would most likely choose to agree to his conditions in order to preserve their lives when they saw the huge difference in strength between him and themselves. However, these chaotic divine demons were not afraid of death. Their powerful strength could not pose much of a deterrent in front of them. Is this how my enemies feel when facing the army under my command? Then, he shook his head and used the myriad methods Star Palm to destroy this chaotic divine demons. Then, his extracted the other party's spoils of war and successfully obtained 4 chaos divine treasures. In the end, they headed to the location of the last chaotic divine demon, the mystic light chaotic divine demon. After the other party did not agree to their conditions, they killed the other party and obtained 4 chaotic divine treasures. I have a total of 94 chaos divine treasures in my hands now. Zhou Fight nodded in satisfaction. He turned to look at the soldiers behind him. Return to the Eternal Mothership. Prepare to return to the country, he said. Yes, the soldiers and god spirits said respectfully. Then, they were about to return to the Eternal Mothership. However, at this moment, huge figures flew over from afar and landed not far from them. Zhou Fight looked over. He realized that the people who came were the 12 master god tiers of the chaotic god race. At this moment, they were looking at them warily. Common people's regal, why have you appeared in our chaos sea again? The leading master god tier advanced grade all heaven divine elephant said. Our previous agreement only prevented us from killing the chaos god's race innocently. It didn't say that we can't come to your chaos sea? Zhou Fight asked in surprise. Our chaos god's race does not welcome you to our territory. The all-heaven divine elephant said in a low voice. You dare to disrespect this emperor, the lord of all races reserve? Zhou Fight narrowed his eyes and looked at the other party coldly. When the all-heaven divine elephant heard this, the cold expression on its face immediately disappeared, and a panic visible to the naked eye appeared. No. We're just not used to outsiders suddenly descending on our race's territory without informing us. He hurriedly explained. At the same time, he hurriedly looked up and realized that the Supreme Eye had not appeared. He heaved a sigh of relief and secretly wiped away his cold sweat. He was really afraid that the other party would summon the Supreme Eye and kill him with a word. Then, he would really not say anything even if he had been wronged. Zhou Fight snorted and extended his right hand. The Supreme Holy Sword appeared in his hand. As soon as this sword appeared, it emitted an aura that suppressed the surroundings, making the gods present speechless. At the same time, they stared at the Holy Sword respectfully and cautiously. Zhou Fight stroked the blade and said calmly, as the reserve force of the Lord of all races, this Emperor wields the Supreme Holy Sword. A quarter of the Supreme Great Cosmos is this Emperor's temporary territory. Even if this Chaos Sea is the territory of the Chaos God's race, if this Emperor says today that this is actually this Emperor's temporary territory, and that you are his subjects, You have to endure the dissatisfaction in your hearts and call this emperor your majesty obediently. Isn't that right? That's right. Even though they were furious, these chaos gods race beings gritted their teeth and admitted, in that case, this emperor will stroll around my territory. Do you have any objections? No. The chaos gods race could only say this. You've already brought out the supreme holy sword. What else can I say? Zhou Feit nodded in satisfaction when he saw this. He put away the supreme holy sword and said calmly, in the next few days, this emperor will most likely come back every day. You don't have to care too much. Just prepare for the ultimate void battleground obediently. Don't let this emperor discover that you have any ulterior motives. Otherwise, the consequences will definitely not be what you think. We understand. Zhou Feit nodded. He had already regarded the Chaos Gods race as his possession, so he was not in a hurry to use them to destroy him for the time being. After all, they would be his soldiers in the future. Then, he didn't say anything else and returned to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom with the soldiers. Chapter 1423, Alliance of the Three Races. The Sky Divine Elephant and the other 12 Master God tiers of the Chaos Gods race watched silently as the Eternal Mothership teleported and disappeared in front of them. Brother, are we going to let them leave just like that? This common people's regal relied on his status as a reserve member of the Lord of all races to enter and leave our territory without even informing us. He's simply looking down on our Chaos Gods race. A 9 Neonates Master God tier asked indignantly. Then what else do you want? The All-Heaven Divine Elephant asked calmly. The 9 Neonates Master God tier fell silent. The 3 top bloodline races had tacitly agreed that the power of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom was no longer inferior to any of the 3 races. Moreover, if they took out a race alone and started a war with the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, there was a high chance that they would not gain anything. Coupled with the other party's status as a reserve member of the Lord of all races, they had an extremely high suppression on them. If they really fought the other party, because they were unconvinced, there was a high chance that they would fail. The only way for them to defeat the common people's regal now was for the 3 races to join forces. However, even so, it was not 100% possible to defeat the other party. At most, it could ensure that the other party did not dare to attack again. Therefore, after hearing the All-Heaven Divine Elephant's words, the 9 Neonates Master God tier suddenly realized that he was helpless. The enemy is powerful, so well endure it for the time being. Don't worry. The leaders have already come up with a way to deal with the common people's regal, and are currently preparing. When the leaders are ready, the good days of the common people's regal will come to an end. Let him be smug for a few days as a reserve member of the Lord of all races. The All-Heaven Divine Elephant said calmly. Really? What preparations did the leaders make? He can actually deal with the common people's regal, who has the status of the Lord of all races reserve army? The 9 Neonates Master God tier was pleasantly surprised and curious. This is the top secret of our 3 top bloodline races. I can't tell you right now, but you can rest assured. The day that the leaders prepare is the day that the common people's regal dies. The All-Heaven Divine Elephant seemed to know something, so it was very confident when it said this. His confidence also affected the other Master God tiers of the Chaos Gods race, making them feel much more at ease. Then they looked at the place where the Eternal Mothership disappeared and sneered. Good. They will allow this common people's regal jump around for a few more days. At the same time, inside the Eternal Mothership, Zhou Feit also obtained some secret information from the Chaos Gods race. The leaders of the 3 races are plotting against me, and I will definitely not be able to deal with the means they prepared? Zhou Feit looked at the secret information sent by the spies of the Chaotic God race. This information came from the Chaos Gods race beside the Great One Lord. Back then, he had once instigated an insight defection against the Lord's faction of the Great One Lord, and secretly instigated a group of the Great One Lord's trusted subordinates. During this period of time, these spies had been providing him with the information they knew about the Chaos Gods. However, The previous information had always been insignificant, so the intelligence department of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom did not care. This time, there was finally something hard. A killing move prepared for me by the 3 top bloodline races? I really attract a lot of attention. What kind of killing move will it be? Zhou Fight was a little curious. However, he quickly stopped thinking about it. He now held the puppet of the Grade 3 Supreme God Realm, the Heavenly Blade Supreme God Realm. He was confident in dealing with it, even if the other party used the methods of a Grade 4 Supreme God Realm. In addition, his will had also entered the Will Divine Transformation Realm. He had also grasped some Supreme God Realm methods. Unless the other party used a will level method, it was basically impossible for it to threaten him. But using a will level method? Then I'm sorry. I have the Supreme Will behind me. Lamb almost invincible in the existence of will. Looks like the skin of the Lord of all races reserve can't suppress these top-notch bloodline races that have been in high positions for a long time. Just as well, if they really want to attack me, I can follow the plan and have a legitimate reason to launch an extermination war against these 3 races. When the time comes, after absorbing the foundation of the 3 races, the strength and faction of my Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom will definitely increase greatly. At the thought of this, Zhou Fight sneered. These 3 races wanted to resolve the threat of him. How could he not want the foundation and accumulation of the 3 races? Both sides just lacked a reason to fight head-on. Since the other party had already made the first move, then he would annihilate the other party openly. In fact, he had another way to deal with the 3 races. That was to use him's status as a reserve member of the Lord of all races, and the Supreme Holy Sword to forcefully order these 3 races to be obedient, and not have any ill intentions towards him. However, in that case, peace could be achieved, but Zhou Fight would not be able to take down the 3 races, and take their foundation and accumulation for himself. Zhou Fight did not want to waste the gift that was on his lips. Therefore, he had never used the authority of the Lord of all races reserved to deal with the 3 races, giving the 3 races a chance to attack him. Perhaps these 3 races understand. It's just that they are equally confident in their methods, so they tacitly agreed to my intentions. Zhou Fight muttered to himself, while the smile on his face deepened. This is getting more and more interesting. Moreover, after we get rid of these 3 races, I won't have anything to worry about in the Supreme Great Cosmos. I can focus on working in the Ultimate Void battlefield. Tomorrow. Only tomorrow. They will definitely attack me tomorrow. Otherwise, after tomorrow, I'll have to go to the Ultimate Void battlefield. They won't have a chance to attack me anymore. Zhou Fight muttered to himself. The Ultimate Void battlefield was a battlefield that the Supreme Will paid close attention to. It was second only to the battlefield where the Supreme Will fought the Crimson Overlord. If they dared to attack him, in the Ultimate Void battleground, it would be equivalent to slapping the Supreme Will's most valued junior under his nose. It would be equivalent to slapping the Supreme Will's face. If they really did that, there was no need for Zhou Fight to counterattack. The Supreme Will would be the first to destroy these offenders who dared to challenge his dignity. Then, Zhou Fight thought for a moment, and sent a message to the original Master God Origin, through the battle channel. How's the recruitment of the Supreme Alliance Army going? Soon the other party replied, Your Excellency, we are done with the recruitment. When His Majesty goes to the Ultimate Void battlefield, as your recruited subordinates, they will arrive with you and gather beside you. Not bad, Origini. I'm very satisfied. Original Master God, Origin. I hate the name Origini. At this moment, the entire Eternal Mothership trembled imperceptibly. Zhou Fight and the others knew that they had already returned to Blazing Sun Divine Capital. Chapter 1424. Upgrade Territory. Intermediate Grade Divine Kingdom. 10,000 Races Announcement. The moment the Eternal Mothership returned to Blazing Sun Divine Capital, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou slowly opened his eyes. Memories of Zhou Fight surfaced in his mind. After reading them all, he raised his eyebrows slightly. A trump card prepared by the 3 races? It's fine. As long as it's not a will-level method, I'm not afraid at the moment. He muttered to himself. Then he checked his body and a smile appeared on his face. Tomorrow, I can advance to the true God tier advanced grade. There's a high chance of it happening the day after tomorrow. I can raise the supreme sacred body I cultivate to the level of a master God tier advanced grade. The supreme holy sword and the regal sage Dao sword are simply too powerful for me to cultivate the Lord Law. I feel that it won't be long before I can advance to the master God tier level and have a supreme sacred body at the supreme God realm. When the time comes, I might be able to kill it even if it's a supreme God realm expert. Zhou was extremely confident, and almost all of this was brought to him by the supreme holy sword and the regal sage Dao sword. Then, he flew out of the reincarnation sacred palace and arrived above the blazing sun divine kingdom. It's time to upgrade. Zhou flipped his right hand and saw 50 chaos divine treasures appear in his hand. He silently chanted upgrade the territory in his heart. In the next second, 40 Gai unit basic materials, 10,000 intermediate true God tier divine crystals, 5,000 trillion origin crystals, 50 chaos divine treasures, and 10 intermediate true God tier territory tokens disappeared. A text notification appeared. Congratulations! Your true God tier elementary grade world of Gods Lord Law has successfully advanced to the intermediate true God tier world of Gods Lord Law. Your territory has successfully advanced to true God tier intermediate grade territory. Your true God tier elementary grade AU methods origin array has been upgraded to true God tier intermediate grade all methods origin array. Territory stone steel durability increased to 5,000 trion/5,000 tridion. Your territory has expanded to 200 billion kmx, 200 billion kinxio million km. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been exited. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Mythical tier building blueprint treasure chest. True God tier intermediate grade. Lord talent notification. Your Scarlet Brood Mother can be upgraded. Lord talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord talent notification. The strength of the clergy of your life arc has increased. Zhou nodded slightly. Then, he looked at the need for the territory to be upgraded to a true God tier advanced grade. Construction upgrade. 50 Gai units of wood, 50 Gai units of fine sand, 50 Gai units of metal, 50 Gai units of stone, 10,000 divine crystals of true God tier advanced grade, 1 capital units origin crystal, 200 chaos divine treasures, 10 regional territories of true God tier advanced grade God spirits, 10 true God tier advanced grade God spirits, 10 million racial heroes, 10 territory tokens of true God tier advanced grade, 200 units of chaos divine treasure. This number is alright. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this difficult condition. He still had 44 chaos divine treasures in his hands after he upgraded his territory. If he were to use the big explosion to obtain the chaos divine treasure every day, he would be able to obtain enough chaos divine treasures in at most 4 days to upgrade his territory to the territory of a true God tier advanced grade. However, I might not be able to meet chaotic divine demons in the next few days. That way, I won't be able to obtain the chaotic divine treasure. However, I have the Bodhi Supreme. If there are no chaotic divine demons in the Chaos Sea, ask Bodhi Supreme if there are any chaotic divine demons elsewhere. If there are no chaotic divine demons in other places, then I can just continue to use the old method to summon chaotic divine demons, or directly ask how to enter the divine demon realm. There must be gods in the world of gods and devils, right? It's just a little risky. According to Bodhi Supreme's words, that chaotic divine demons Di Huang might have the strength of a will. It's easy for accidents to happen if I encounter him. Unless we really can't meet the chaotic divine demons, it's better not to step into the divine demon realm so easily. Zhou thought firmly. Then, he brought up the Divine Kingdom's information interface. When he saw that all the conditions to advance to a divine kingdom had been met, he smiled. Then, without any hesitation, he chose to upgrade the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom from a beginner grade Divine Kingdom to an intermediate grade divine kingdom. A text notification appeared. Prompt: you have met all the requirements to advance to an intermediate grade divine kingdom. Do you want to advance the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom to an intermediate grade divine kingdom? Upgrade. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Prompt: you have one chance to change the location of your divine capital. Do you wish to change/retain it? Retain. Of course, Zhou would not change it and chose to keep it. Prompt: your choice has been confirmed. Prompt: your Lord's Territory Beginner Grade Divine Kingdom Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom is being upgraded. Prompt: level up successful. Congratulations, your Beginner Grade Divine Kingdom Lord Territory, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, has officially been upgraded to Intermediate Grade Divine Kingdom Lord Territory Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Prompt: you can show the level of your Divine Kingdom territory on any channel. Zhou nodded to himself satisfactorily. This time, the speed of advancement was much faster than before. In the next second, an unexpected announcement appeared. 10,000 Races Announcement. Congratulations to Lord of All Races Reserve, Lord of the Blazing Sun, for successfully upgrading your Divine Kingdom territory to an Intermediate Divine Kingdom territory. Reward: Lord of All Races Reserve Treasure Chest +1, Intermediate Divine Kingdom Treasure Chest +1. Reputation Rating +10,000. Mythical Reputation Rating +IO. 10,000 Races Announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of All Races Reserve Army, Lord of the Blazing Sun. 10,000 Races Announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of All Races Reserve Army, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Zhou was stunned when he saw this. Then, he became strange. The Lord of All Races event had already ended, but he was still able to trigger the announcement when he leveled up his territory. Moreover, he even specifically stated in the announcement that he, as the reserve army of the Lord of All Races, had triggered the announcement. Zhou only thought for a second before he guessed the reason. This was probably a special announcement made by the Supreme Will to reward him for upgrading his territory. The Supreme Will had put in a lot of effort. He opened the battle channel of all races and the Lord's channel of all races. As expected, the Lords and the God spirits of the myriad races were all discussing the purpose of this announcement. The smart ones among them quickly realized that this announcement was just an excuse used by the Supreme Will to reward them as the Lord of All Races Reserves. The Patriarch of the original spirit race origin. Congratulations to Your Excellency Common People's Regal for successfully becoming the Lord of an Intermediate Grade Divine Kingdom. The Patriarch of the Shepherd's God Race Di Huang. Congratulations to Your Excellency Common People's Regal for successfully becoming the Lord of an Intermediate Grade Divine Kingdom. Chaos God Race Patriarch Heaven Curse Beast. Congratulations to Your Excellency Common People's Regal for successfully becoming the Lord of an Intermediate Grade Divine Kingdom. TSK. As expected of the reserve army of the Lord of All Races, he had only advanced to Intermediate Grade Divine Kingdom, but the patriarchs of the three top bloodline races had all come to congratulate him. Such a big commotion. I'm jealous. Isn't this Supreme Will's intention too obvious? This announcement is obviously only for the Common People's Regal, who asked the Common People's Regal to be the Lord of All Races Reserve Army. I thought that after the Lord of All Races event ended, there would be nothing for me to do. It turns out that I can still be a visitor. Amazing. I'm envious and jealous of the Common People's Regal. However, the Common People's Regal is indeed impressive. They just upgraded their territory to a beginner grade Divine Kingdom Lord faction 2 days ago. It hasn't been long since they upgraded a beginner grade Divine Kingdom Lord faction to an intermediate grade Divine Kingdom Lord faction. This speed is too ridiculous. What's so ridiculous about that? Even though the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom is only a newly promoted Ultimate Divine Kingdom Lord faction, his strength has long been recognized by the myriad races of the various heavens. It's a powerful faction comparable to top bloodline races like the original Spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race. It's already known as the fourth extreme of the myriad worlds. A faction at the fourth extreme of the myriad worlds is now only an intermediate grade Divine Kingdom Lord faction. It's already too low, okay? You have a point. I seem to remember that even the 3 top lords of all races didn't have such treatment, right? Those 3 are already in the past. How can they compare to the rising stars? Sure. Be careful with your words. Chapter 1425. Upgrading the Gate of Summoning. Upgrading the original Dragon Abyss. The lords and god spirits discussed animatedly. Most of them had the intention of stepping on one and supporting the other. But there was a reason for that. The first 3 lords of all races were chosen by the Supreme, a long time before the Lord of the Blazing Sun. However, after so many years, these 3 lords of all races were still not promoted to lords of all races. Instead, the Supreme had another lord activity and selected another lord of all races. What does this mean? This meant that the 3 lords of all races were not qualified in the eyes of the Supreme Will. Otherwise, would they not be promoted after so long? Therefore, this newly risen common people's regal was the most likely to become the lord of all races, compared to the 3 other lord of all races. At least for now. Zhou also saw the conversation between the lords and the god spirits. He could not help but fall into deep thought. Perhaps in their greatest competitor to the 3 lords of all races in their eyes. The 10,000 evil spirits ancestor of the ultimate void battleground might not be so easy to get along with. He thought for a moment, and shook his head to stop thinking about it. He had no lack of competitors along the way. There was no harm in adding a few more. In any case, he would definitely conquer whoever stood in his way. He had already come this far. It was impossible for him to back down because of any opponent. Then, he stopped thinking and flew to the Gate of Summoning. He spent 40 Gai units of basic materials and 1,000 true God tier intermediate grade divine crystals to upgrade the Gate of Summoning to the true God tier intermediate grade. Congratulations! Your Gate of Summoning has been successfully upgraded to true God tier intermediate grade building. You can summon 20 million subjects every day. You will summon 500,000 professionals every day. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer 12. The number of subjects you can summon every day has reached 431,586,000. You will summon 500,013 professionals every day. Zhou nodded after reading it. The basic number of subjects summoned for true God tier elementary grade Gate of Summoning was 15,965,500. After being buffed by the Glory of the Pioneer 12, it directly increased by 12 times, becoming 431,586,000 people. Then, he glanced at the requirement to upgrade the Gate of Summoning. Construction upgrade. Wood 50 Gai units, fine sand 50 Gai units, metal 50 Gai units, stone 50 Gai units, true God tier advanced grade divine crystals. Territory level upgraded to true God tier advanced grade. Zhou retracted his gaze and spent 2,000 capital units of basic materials, 10,000 true God tier intermediate grade divine crystals, and 500 million high-grade elemental gems to upgrade the original Dragon Abyss to true God tier intermediate grade. Building name, Original Dragon Abyss, construction level, true God tier intermediate grade, construction effect. You can summon 6 billion white silver tier advanced grade pure-blooded dragons, 600 million yellow gold tier advanced grade pure-blooded dragons, 60 million white platinum tier intermediate grade pure-blooded dragons every day from the original Dragon Abyss. 6 true God tier elementary grade dragon gods will become subjects under the Lord and have a 12% chance of summoning legendary dragons. Construction upgrade. 1,000 capital units of wood, 1,000 capital units of fine sand, 1,000 capital units of metal, 1,000 capital units of stone, 10,000 divine crystals of true God tier advanced grade, 10,000 divine crystals, 1 billion high-level elemental gems. Territory upgraded to a high-level Divine Kingdom Lord faction, and also has 10 Master God tier dragons as offerings. Zhou raised his eyebrows slightly when he saw the information on the interface of the original Dragon Abyss. In the original Dragon Abyss of the True God Tier Intermediate Grade, the number of pure-blooded dragons summoned was still 66,666,660 pure-blooded dragons. It was just that the starting point had increased from White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade to White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade. The biggest change was that the probability of summoning a legendary dragon increased from 15% to 30%. The probability had doubled. It's alright. Zhou smacked his lips. The strength of a legendary dragon was quite good. Then, he returned to the world of gods and sent someone to call Mugu, Zheng Fugui, and Carol Moeli over. A moment later, the three of them arrived in front of Zhou. "Greetings, Your Majesty," the three of them said respectfully. The territory has just advanced. Tell me about your improvements." Zhou said. Mugu was the first to stand up. "Reporting to Your Majesty, the Scarlet Brood Mother that I'm currently in has been upgraded from True God Tier Elementary Grade to True God Tier Intermediate Grade. The number of Mist Mothers evolved from the True God Tier Intermediate Grade Scarlet Brood Mother has increased from 5 million to 10 million. Each Mist Mother world can now nurture 10 billion fog monsters. 10 million Mist Mothers can nurture a total of 20 capital units fog monsters. In addition, the quality and efficiency of cultivating high-quality Scarlet Heirs has also increased. Currently, I can nurture 20 Scarlet True God Tier Advanced Grades, or 100 True God Tier Elementary Grade Scarlet God Spirits in a day. As for ordinary Scarlet God Spirits, I can create 500,000 Scarlet God Spirits in a day," Mugu said respectfully. When Zhou heard this, he clicked his tongue. Good God! 20 capital units of fog monsters. Which meant, if he used all these Mist Mothers to nurture his soldier type, with the enhancement of Lord talents and titles like Heavenly Fate Di Huang, he would be able to obtain 40 capital units Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier Recruitment Books, 40 capital units Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier Class Change Certificate, 40 capital units Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Books, and 40 capital units Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate, which meant he could have an additional 160 capital units recruits in a day. He only had 117 capital units soldiers under his command. The number of newly recruited soldiers today was much greater than his total military strength. It's a pity that they're all new recruits. They still need to be nurtured for a period of time before they can be used as a backbone. If only the newly recruited soldiers were Yellow Gold Tier, White Platinum Tier, or even higher. Zhou thought greedily. In addition, Mugu's performance in nurturing the Scarlet God Spirit was also very ridiculous. Mugu could actually create 5 Scarlet True God Tier Advanced Grade True Gods, or 20 True God Tier Elementary Grade, or even 100,000 ordinary Scarlet God Spirits in a day by nurturing God Spirits with all his might. Good God! God Spirits were like cabbages in Mugu. They could be bought wholesale at will. However, Zhou still had the same idea. It was better to nurture new recruits. He would not nurture the Scarlet God Spirit. With the enhancement of his various Lord talents, the speed at which God Spirits were born among the new recruits would not be too slow. Hence, Zhou thought for a moment and said, "Leave 1 million Mist Mothers amongst the 5 million behind to specially nurture the Iron-Eating Bear and the Withered Tree. For the other 8 million Mist Mothers, 4 million will be used to nurture the Violent Storm Demon Spirit, and the other 4 million will be used to nurture the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier." Even though he did not use it all to nurture the Violent Storm Spirit and the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier, a total of 8 million Mist Mothers could also help him obtain 32 capital units, Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier Recruitment Books, 32 capital units, Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier Class Change Certificate, 32 capital units, Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Books, and 32 capital units, Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate. If he converted all these recruitment books and class change certificates into new recruits, he would have a total of 128 capital unit soldiers. It was 4 times the number of soldiers he recruited every day. Previously, he only recruited 32 capital units every day. Chapter 1426, Lord Talent Improvement. 2 Divine Kingdom Soldier Types. At this rate, it won't be long before the number of soldiers under my command reaches the level of the capital units. With such a large number of troops, even the 3 top bloodline races will find it difficult to compare to them. When the time comes, I will be the race and Divine Kingdom faction with the largest number of troops among the myriad races in the world. Zhou thought to himself. Of course, this was without counting those Supreme God Realm factions and willpower level factions. A faction of that level had Supreme God Realm existences, or even willpower existences presiding over it. It had long surpassed the concept of a Lord faction and a racial faction. Currently, Zhou did not have a Supreme God Realm expert in the country, so he naturally could not compare to them. Yes, Your Majesty, Mu Gu immediately said respectfully after hearing Zhou's words. Then, he retreated. Seeing this, Zheng Fugui stepped forward. Reporting to Your Majesty. Now, the number of mysterious merchant has increased from 2 billion to 200 billion after the territory upgraded to the intermediate true God tier grade. The number of carriages transporting goods has also increased to 2 billion. Among the 200 billion mysterious merchants, there are a total of 5 billion true God tiers, 80 billion ordinary God spirits, and 105 billion upper-level legendary tier experts. Our treasure hunting ability has improved again. In the future, when we go out to do business, we should be able to bring back at least 200,000 God tier treasures each time. In addition, as one of the core branches of the mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce, our daily salary has increased from 1,000 mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce points to 2,000 mysterious Merchant Chamber of Commerce points. He said respectfully. Zhou nodded. He was very satisfied with the upgrade of the mysterious Chamber of Commerce. Zheng Fugui left after saying that. Seeing this, Carol Mully stood up and said respectfully, reporting to Your Majesty, after the territory was upgraded to the true God tier intermediate grade, our life arc already has 2,000 trillion clergymen, 2,000 trillion priests, 2,000 trillion nuns, and 5 famous life paladins in the capital units. These clergymen are enough to complete the war treatment mission and the war resurrection mission for 500 capital units. Also, currently, there are 100 million high-level God Spirit members in the life arc. Every one of them has mastered the resurrection spells, and they can resurrect the deities of our country alone. As for my strength, I'm still a Master God tier advanced grade. I haven't improved yet. Zhou smiled and nodded. With 500 capital units level troops for war healing missions and war resurrection missions, he wouldn't have to worry about such matters for the time being. Then, he chatted with the 3 of them for a while before letting them leave. It was still early. Zhou ordered someone to call Bai Yin over. During this period, he took out the Bodhi Supreme. Bodhi Supreme, do you know which Scarlet Divine Kingdom Lord factions in the myriad worlds have powerful Divine Kingdom soldier types? It's best if it's a long-range Divine Kingdom soldier type and a close combat Divine Kingdom soldier type. Zhou asked. 2 formal questions. Bodhi Supreme said. The corners of Zhou's mouth twitched, but he still agreed. He had requested for powerful Divine Kingdom soldier types in the myriad worlds, not just the entire high continent. The intelligence department under him was clearly unable to find a suitable and correct target in such a large area. Therefore, he could only seek help from Bodhi Supreme. I did. Zhou agreed without much hesitation. Come, let me show you. Bodhi Supreme fell silent after saying that. A moment later, found it. The 2 Crimson Divine Kingdom soldier types I found for you are considered high-level even in the hands of the Crimson Overlord. Even if it's comparable to the high-level soldier type of the Supreme Will, it's not inferior at all. Among the Divine Kingdom soldier types at the Master God tier level, they can definitely be ranked first. Bodhi Supreme said confidently. Zhou frowned. Isn't it the strongest soldier type? He asked. I found you a Supreme soldier type, or even a willpower soldier type, but you only used it to nurture your only mythical tier Scarlet Brood Mother? Bodhi Supreme said angrily. Zhou felt a little awkward. So that was the reason. What are the names of these two strongest Divine Kingdom soldier types at the Master God tier level? Zhou asked curiously. One is called the Close Combat Divine Kingdom soldier type, the Chaos Dominator. Another long-range Divine Kingdom soldier type, Primordial Holy Cannon. Bodhi Supreme said. The Chaos Dominator and the Primordial Holy Cannon. Zhou pondered over these two names and asked in puzzlement, is it related to the Chaos God's race and the original Spirit race? It does. At the beginning of the war, the Supreme Will and the Crimson Overlord captured a group of creatures from the three top bloodline races and transformed them into Scarlet Soldier types. The Chaos Dominator and the Primordial Holy Cannon are two of the modifications. The Shepherd's God race has also been modified into a race called the Myriad God Patriarch. However, later on, I realized that this soldier type was neither high nor low. There was nothing particularly outstanding about them. Their performance on the battlefield was average, so they were abandoned by the Crimson Overlord. The Bodhi Supreme said, then quickly tell me the location of these two soldier types. Zhou immediately said, no hurry. I'll send it to your 0 now. Okay, that's it. Coincidentally, at this moment, Bai Yin requested to see him. Zhou immediately asked Bai Yin to come over, and told her about the two Divine Kingdom soldier types. I'll send troops over immediately. Bai Yin became excited when she heard that. Their strength and influence would undergo a qualitative change if they could obtain these two Divine Kingdom soldier types and replace them all with Divine Kingdom soldiers. At the thought of this, Bai Yin did not stay any longer. She turned around and left the world of gods. She brought the soldiers and god spirits of the main combat army and followed Zero's instructions to the location of the two Divine Kingdom soldier types. Zhou was secretly looking forward to watching them leave. Bai Yin and the others followed Zero's lead and passed through the shadow world. They were the first to arrive at the world where the Divine Kingdom soldier type, the Primordial Holy Cannon, was. The location of the Primordial Holy Cannon was in a boundless universe called the Vast Sea Realm. When they first arrived, they saw a Scarlet Divine Kingdom Lord faction fighting the native army of the Vast Sea Realm outside the boundless universe barrier. Both sides had invested more than 10 capital units armies, 10 million god spirits, more than 1,000 true god tiers, and more than 10 master gods. This configuration was already the configuration of a top Divine Kingdom Lord faction. At this moment, the two sides were fighting in full swing. Bai Yin and the others were not in a hurry to rush forward. Instead, they let Zero hack into the other party's civilization network to search for information. A moment later, Zero had finished its search. Chapter 1427, Powerful Divine Kingdom Soldier Type. 1 Editor. Ada Studios' time was of the essence, so I only searched for the general information. The two parties we're seeing now are respectively the Lord of the Boundless Universe, God Lord Vast Seas faction. On the other side is the invading Thousand-Masked Scarlet Divine Kingdom. The leader is a Scarlet Master God tier, named Thousand-Masked Swordhead. This is the 37th battle between the two sides. After such a long period of high-frequency battles, God Lord Vast Seas side's war resources are almost depleted. In less than 5 days, the boundless universe will completely fall. Zero reported. After saying that, Zero also sent an even more detailed report to the soldiers and god spirits present. Even with the speed at which the god spirits browsed, it would take them 2 to 3 days to finish reading it all. Fortunately, Zero placed the most important information at the front. The god spirits only needed to look at the first part to understand what they wanted to know. However, even so, the soldiers and god spirits could not help but click their tongues at Zero's ability to gather information. You call that general intelligence? I'm afraid all the information in the boundless universe has been sorted out by you in this short period of time, right? Oh yeah. One more thing. According to the list of Supreme Alliance God spirits sent by the original Master God Origin, God Lord Vast Sea, and the 3 true gods and 500 god spirits under him, are also members of His Majesty's Supreme Allied Forces. Zero added, so it's one of us. Hearing this, Bai Yin immediately smiled. Then, she ordered with a solemn expression, "Since we're on the same side, let's quickly begin the rescue. All hands on deck. Destroy this Scarlet Divine Kingdom faction that invaded the boundless universe. Attention, capture at least 3 primordial holy cannon soldier types." "Yes, Legion Commander, Your Excellency." The generals and god spirits immediately said respectfully and excitedly. Then, she immediately left the Eternal Mothership with the soldiers and god spirits under her command and rushed to the world barrier battlefield in the boundless universe. When Bai Yin led the army of the capital units, hundreds of millions of god spirits, more than 20,000 true gods, and more than 50 master gods to appear on the battlefield, both the Scarlet Divine Kingdom and God Lord Vast Sea were shocked. Which top faction had suddenly descended? When they discovered that the person who had arrived was from the faction of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, the expression of the thousand-masked sword head of the thousand-masked Scarlet Divine Kingdom immediately turned ugly. Even though God Lord Vast Sea didn't expect the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom to appear at this time, he didn't have time to think too much. "Brothers of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom, can you lend us a helping hand? I, the God Lord Vast Sea, am eternally grateful for helping our boundless universe overcome this crisis." God Lord Vast Sea shouted. "You're too kind, Your Excellency. You and I are both living beings of the Supreme Great Cosmos, and are under the command of the Blazing Sun God Lord. We are comrades and companions of the same camp. Isn't it reasonable for comrades and companions to help each other?" Bai Yin shouted. Then, he didn't waste any time, and immediately ordered the army to attack the Scarlet Fog Army. Thousand-masked Sword Head wanted to escape secretly. Even a fool could tell that the army led by him was no match for the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom after all. Just the number of troops alone was enough to crush them. However, how could the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom let him escape? Soon, the thousand-masked Sword Head and the Divine Kingdom army under him were surrounded. "Let's do it. Kill your way out." Thousand-masked Sword Head roared with determination. Then, it led the army and began to fight to the death with the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. And yet, the difference in strength was not something that could be made up with a few slogans. In less than an hour, the thousand-masked Sword Head and its Scarlet Army had been destroyed by the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Among them, the thousand-masked Sword Head was killed by Bai Yin with a single arrow. The war ended very quickly. God Lord Vast Sea was stunned. No, it had fought the other party for more than 30 times without any results. It had even been beaten until its resources were almost depleted. In the end, it had finished off the other party in such a short period of time? As expected of the Lord of all races reserve, personally chosen by the Supreme Will. All races are right. The common people's regal and his Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom have really become the 4th most powerful race apart from the 3 top bloodline races. God Lord Vast Sea thought. Right at that moment, it saw Bai Yin leading a group of Master God Tears flying towards it and quickly arriving in front of it. God Lord Vast Sea hurriedly said respectfully, "Greetings, Legion Commander Bai Yin, Your Excellency." Now that the name of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had resounded throughout the myriad worlds, the information about the common people's regal and the various generals under him had naturally spread to all the myriad races in the world. As a member of the Supreme Alliance, God Lord Vast Sea had an extremely detailed understanding of this information. Therefore, he could tell at a glance that this person was the Legion Commander that the Lord of the Blazing Sun trusted and relied on the most. As a member of the Supreme Alliance, God Lord Vast Sea had an extremely detailed understanding of this information. Therefore, he could tell at a glance that this person was the Legion Commander that the Lord of the Blazing Sun trusted and relied on the most. Bai Yin revealed a faint smile and said, "His Majesty will go to the Ultimate Void Battleground tomorrow afternoon. You must prepare early." Naturally, God Lord Vast Sea hurriedly said, "The war has just ended. You should have a lot of things to deal with, so we won't stay any longer. See you on the Ultimate Void Battlefield next time." Bai Yin said straightforwardly. Your Excellency has just saved us from death. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? I still plan to treat Your Excellency and the soldiers to a feast. Chapter 1428. Powerful Divine Kingdom Soldier Type. 2. The God Lord Vastsi said sincerely, "We appreciate Your Excellency's kindness, but we have duties to attend to, so we won't linger. Goodbye, Your Excellency God Lord Vastsi." After saying that, Bai Yin did not give the other party any chance to persuade him to stay. She turned around and led all the soldiers and god spirits back to the eternal mothership. Then, she entered the dark universe and sailed away. Too bad. God Lord Vastsi smacked his lips. He felt that it was a pity that he didn't manage to curry favor with this legion commander, that the common people's regal trusted and relied on the most. Then, he didn't have time to think. Just as Bai Yin had said, the war had just ended, and he still had many things to deal with. The matter of currying favor could wait until they reached the ultimate void battleground. On the other side, inside the eternal mothership, Bai Yin looked at the 100 primordial holy cannons in front of her, with a satisfied smile on her face. She carefully looked at these soldiers, who were known as the number 1 long-range Divine Kingdom soldier type. They were all members of the original Spirit clan. Their entire bodies were covered in law engravings that emitted nomological fluctuations. There was a hexagonal world gem between their brows. They carried a cannon that was the same color as the world gem behind them. It looked extremely oppressive. She checked the stats of one of the original sacred robes. Fog monster name, heavy gold, territory, 1000 mass scarlet divine kingdom, soldier type, primordial holy cannon, divine kingdom soldier, strength level, true god tier elementary grade, ability overview, a top-notch divine kingdom soldier type modified by the Crimson Overlord. It has unparalleled long-range explosive damage. Even top-notch true god-tier experts are unable to resist the bombardment of the original spirit race. They are best at refining the world into a boundary bomb that can be used for offensive purposes. They can be used to bombard the enemy and cause huge damage to the enemy forces. Skills. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Creating the World, Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Time and Space Aim. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Power of Annihilation. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Lethal Lock. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Law Penetration. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Invincible Time. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Time and Space Replacement. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Ultimate Bombing. True God Tier Elementary Grade Law Skill. Law. Destruction Cannon. True God Tier Elementary Grade Law Skill. Twilight of the Gods Cannon. True God Tier Elementary Grade Law Skill. World Annihilation Cannon. True God Tier Elementary Grade Assault Cannon. True God Tier Elementary Grade. Will Destruction Cannon. Loyalty. Unavailable. Potential. True God Tier Advanced Grade. After reading it, Bai Yin's eyes widened in shock. Good God. She had seen many Divine Kingdom soldier types, and had even fought with many Divine Kingdom soldiers, being with His Majesty for so long. However, this was the first time she had seen a Divine Kingdom soldier type, like the Primordial Holy Cannon, with so many Divine Kingdom soldier types. Moreover, the attacks of these Primordial Holy Cannons were actually using the world as cannonballs to attack the enemy. Moreover, the attacks of these Primordial Holy Cannons were actually using the world as cannonballs to attack the enemy. As expected of the number 1 long-range Divine Kingdom soldier type recommended by Bodhi Supreme. Extraordinary. Bai Yin nodded to herself. Then, she observed the other Primordial Holy Cannons. In the end, he discovered that these Primordial Holy Cannons had one thing in common. Even the weakest of them was true God Tier Advanced Grade. The highest was even the Primordial Holy Cannon soldiers, who were Master God Tier Advanced Grade. Could one of the basic conditions to advance to the Primordial Holy Cannon is that the lowest potential is true God Tier Advanced Grade? If that's the case, it's outrageous. Bai Yin clicked her tongue and said to the Master God beside her, "Lock them up. Don't let anything happen to them." "Yes, Your Excellency Legion Commander." The God Spirits said respectfully and brought the Lu Primordial Holy Cannons away. A moment later, The Eternal Mothership brought the generals and god spirits to the location of the Chaos Dominator soldier type through the teleportation of the Shadow World. As it happens, these Chaos Dominator soldier types were also helping a Scarlet Divine Kingdom Lord faction deal with a main god-tier faction called the Mystic Rainbow Boundless Universe. Even though the World Lord of the Mystic Rainbow Boundless Universe, Mystic Rainbow God Lord, was not a member of the Supreme Alliance Army, everyone was considered allies in front of the Scarlet Forces. Therefore, Bai Yin still chose to help and defeat this Scarlet Divine Kingdom Lord faction. She also captured 200 Chaos Dominators. The Mystic Rainbow God Lord wanted to thank Bai Yin for her help. However, Bai Yin ignored him. She led the soldiers back to the Eternal Mothership and disappeared with a teleportation after defeating the Scarlet Divine Kingdom and capturing all the chaotic lords. The Mystic Rainbow God Lord was stunned. Then he smiled bitterly. It was rumored that the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom of the Common People's Regal was already in existence that could be said to be the fourth highest in the myriad worlds. It was not inferior to the original spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race. Now that he looked at it, it was indeed so. In the eyes of the other party, the war that he thought was very important was just a small matter. The Common People's Regal is now the Lord of all races reserve. Perhaps I can also seek refuge with him and have a good future. Perhaps my opportunity to become a supreme god realm in the future will be with the Common People's Regal. This thought suddenly appeared in the Mystic Rainbow God Lord's mind. Even the 10 Master God tiers were willing to join the Common People's Regal. What was there to be reserved about? At the thought of this, the Mystic Rainbow God Lord was even more tempted. At the same time, Bai Yin was deep in thought inside the Eternal Mothership. Along the way, she had finally figured it out. The myriad worlds were currently suffering from the invasion of the Scarlet Forces, just like the High Continent. But that's not something we should be thinking about. The most important thing now is the ultimate void battleground. After this matter is over, perhaps the Supreme will assign His Majesty the task of fighting the Crimson Overlord. Bai Yin had a guess. Right at that moment, a Master God-tier existence walked over with 200 true God-tier Chaos Dominators. Your Excellency Legion Commander, these Chaos Lords have all been brought here. The human Master God-tier said respectfully. Bai Yin nodded and looked at the 200 Chaos Dominator in front of her. These Chaos Sovereigns had different forms. Most of them were in the form of beasts, while a few of them had humanoid forms. They were surrounded by chaotic airflow, and their bodies contained a shocking aura of indestructibility. The fierce light in their eyes was enough to make a true God-tier tremble in fear just by looking at them. Bai Yin looked at them and could feel the oppressive aura that was not inferior to the primordial holy canon. Of course, this bit of pressure was naturally meaningless to a Master God-tier like Bai Yin. A soldier-type notification appeared. Fog monster name, Sora. Territory, Chaotic Scarlet Divine Kingdom. Soldier type, Chaos Dominator Divine Kingdom Soldier. Strength level, True God Tier Intermediate Grade. Ability Overview, a top-notch Divine Kingdom Soldier type transformed by the Crimson Overlord. They have an indestructible body and a talent that is almost immune to nomological attacks. Attacks of the same level can almost not break through their bodies. They are good at controlling the power of chaos. Not only can they destroy the enemy's body, soul, and will, but they can also absorb and counterattack the enemy's attacks. They are a perfect top-notch close combat soldier type. Skills: Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Chaos God Body. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Chaos Power. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Chaos Decomposition. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Immortal Body. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Immunity to Law Attacks, Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Immunity to Soul Attacks, Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Chaos Will. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Allah God Body. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Vigorous. Vitality, Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent, Ultimate Counterattack. Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Regeneration of Broken Limbs, Divine Kingdom Tier Soldier Talent. Regeneration by dropping blood, True God Tier Elementary Grade Law Skill. Chaos God Fist, True God Tier Elementary Grade Law Skill, Chaos God Thunder, True God Tier Elementary Grade Law Skill, Chaos World Destroying Roar, True God Tier Elementary Grade Law Eye, True God Tier Elementary Grade Chaos Domain, Loyalty, Unavailable, Potential, True God Tier Advanced Grade. After Bai Yin finished reading, she could not help but click her tongue even more. The number of Divine Kingdom Soldier type talents was even much higher than the Primordial Holy Canon. Chapter 1429. Back to the Yellow River. War Summary. 1. Editor at his studios. Then, Bai Yin became excited. These two Divine Kingdom Soldier types were both so strong. Bai Yin seemed to have a premonition that after equipping these two Divine Kingdom Soldier types, the strength of the Divine Kingdom Soldiers would increase exponentially. Come on. Return to Blazing Sun Divine Capital. I want His Majesty to see with his own eyes how powerful these two Divine Kingdom Soldier types that he personally chose are. His Majesty will definitely be very happy to see these two Divine Kingdom Soldier types. Bai Yin ordered Zero. Okay, Your Excellency Legion Commander Bai Yin. Zero replied. Then, it immediately steered the Eternal Mothership, and first escaped into the Shadow World. Then, it used the Shadow World to return to the Blazing Sun Divine Capital. The process took less than 5 minutes. Bai Yin looked at the Blazing Sun Divine Capital in front of her, and recalled the Shadow World that she had just passed through. She could not help but sigh. Shadow World is really a good place. It will probably be easy to conquer the myriad worlds if used well. Then, he stopped thinking, and immediately reported to Zhou Manage. At this moment, Zhou Manage was dealing with government affairs with Zhou 8. He summoned Bai Yin up after hearing that she wanted to see him. How was your trip? Zhou Manage smiled. Reporting to Your Majesty, the journey was smooth without any twists and turns. I've already brought back the two Scarlet Divine Kingdom Soldier types, the Primordial Holy Canon, and the Chaos Dominators. Bai Yin said honestly. Two ordinary Scarlet Divine Kingdom Lord factions were indeed nothing to the current Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Bai Yin could not even be bothered to mention it. It was not necessary to mention such a small matter, and let His Majesty remember such useless information. That would only waste His Majesty's precious energy. Let this Emperor see those two Divine Kingdom Soldier types. Zhou Manage's interest was piqued. Yes, Your Grace, Bai Yin said respectfully. Then, with a wave of her right hand, two true God Tier Elementary Grade Primordial Holy Cannons and the Chaos Dominators flew out of her world ring and landed in the hall. At this moment, their eyes were filled with confusion, and they looked silly. It was obvious that their minds had been controlled by Bai Yin in advance, preventing them from rashly offending His Majesty in the hall. Zhou Manage looked at the two Divine Kingdom Soldier types. A satisfied expression appeared on his face after reading their attribute information. As expected of the strongest Divine Kingdom Soldier type that Bodhi Supreme had personally told his main body. In terms of abilities, it completely met the needs of the main body. Immediately bring them to Mugu, and get him to replace the original Violent Storm Demon Spirit, and the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier with the Primordial Holy Canon, and the Chaos Dominators. It's time to retire the original two soldier types. Zhou Manage smiled and ordered. Yes, Your Majesty, Bai Yin said respectfully. In the remaining time, continue to lead the soldiers to expand the current territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. You can conquer any faction you encounter, as long as it's not a Supreme God Realm faction or a Will Level faction. Zhou Manage said. As the core place of the Supreme Great Cosmos, the High Continent was guarded by Supreme God Realm factions and Willpower Level factions. However, there were no Supreme God Realm existences or Willpower Level existences guarding the place. None of the members of these factions had established a country. At most, they occupied a place with a higher level of territory. As their base in the Supreme Continent, they were also called Holy Land. These Holy Lands were extraordinary. As long as they did not take the initiative to provoke them, they usually would not interfere in the matters of the High Continent. Zhou Manage had no intention of provoking them for the time being, so he specially reminded them. Yes, Your Majesty, Bai Yin said respectfully. Zhou Manage nodded. Seeing this, Bai Yin also left. Zhou Manage and Zhou Ba smiled and chatted for a while before continuing with their work. At night, Bai Yin led the army back. Not long after, Zhou, who was cultivating in the reincarnation sacred palace, slowly opened his eyes. He sensed the surging chaotic holy power in his body, and a smile appeared on his face. True God tier advanced grade. Much sooner than I expected. Zhou was very satisfied. This was the enhancement effect of two top-notch divine artifacts, the Supreme Holy Sword and the Regal Sage Dao Sword. In the past, he wouldn't even dare to think about such progress. In the next 3 days, I will definitely be able to advance to the Master God tier elementary grade. At that time, I should be able to barely control the two supreme divine artifacts, the Heaven Wall Divine Armor and the Great Heaven Seal. With these two supreme divine artifacts, my defensive and sealing abilities can reach the Supreme God Realm. In addition, I have the law skill of Will Million Blades, and the Grade 3 Supreme God Realm Heaven Blade Supreme God Realm Puppet. With so many trump cards in hand, I will have a place even among the many Supreme God Realm experts. Zhou's eyes lit up. His strength would undergo a qualitative change after becoming a Master God. When the time came, the only thing that he didn't dare to face was probably a will-level existence in the myriad worlds. Zhou then opened the summary of today's battle. For the entire day, Zhou Fight led his army and fought everywhere in the High Continent to expand the territory of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. He conquered a total of 82 beginner-grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 51 intermediate-grade Divine Kingdom Lord factions, 21 advanced grade-level Divine Kingdom Lord factions, and 3 Overlord-level Lord factions. They had wiped out a total of 105 capital units, with more than 30 trillion soldiers, more than 210 million god spirits, more than 18,000 true gods, and 104 master gods. After today's territorial expansion war, the army of the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom had obtained a total of 150,000 mist cores of various levels, origin crystals, skill books, equipment, and basic materials from the capital units. There were also 143,870,934,248,798 green bronze tier, Lord Talent crystal fragments. Chapter 1430. Come to the Yellow River again. War Summary. 2. 154,112 legendary tier and below Lord Talent spheres. A large number of Lord Talent crystal fragments of other levels. There were also 6 capital units, 4,123,123,340,000 units of divine crystals that ranged from low tier to high tier deity level. 3,076,874,355 true god tier divine crystals. 512,117,878 master god tier divine crystals. 234,000 grade 1 to grade 3 supreme god realm divine crystals. A master god tier advanced grade can only drop grade 3 supreme god realm divine crystals. There were more than 2,849,881,700,000 low tier to high tier deity level divine artifacts. 25,890,000 true god tier divine artifacts. 2,878 master god tier divine artifacts. 24 supreme god realm divine artifacts. There were a total of about 12,005,000 divine spark fragments, god tier herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. 534,246,789 master god tier herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. 618 supreme god realm god tier herbs, god tier ingredients, god tier ores, god tier blueprints, and other treasures. In terms of insight defection, today, Zhou Fight and the Lords of the Star Alliance had a total of 28 capital units, 8,977,342,388,788 soldiers, 51,218,887 God spirits, 2,873 true God tiers, and 16 master gods. In addition, 12 master gods of the people of foreign races had taken the initiative to surrender. In total, there were 28 master gods. In addition, in terms of the advancement of God spirits, a total of 31,081,399 legendary tier advanced grade soldiers had advanced to low-tier deity level elementary grade God spirits. There were also 2,898 high-tier deity level advanced grade God spirits who had advanced to true God tier elementary grade God spirits. Another 6 top-notch true gods of the human race and 5 top-notch true gods of the people of foreign races felt their master God tier bottleneck and applied to enter the reincarnation sacred palace to cultivate in seclusion to try to break through to the master God tier. There was a high chance that they would officially break through tomorrow. Zhou's original military strength was 117 capital units, with 366,383,222,638,482 soldiers, 157,328,221 God spirits, 27,293 true gods, and 88 master gods. Now, with these insight defection troops and new God spirit powerhouses, the troops under him reached 146 capital units with 264,117,457,818,321 soldiers, 239,618,609 God spirits, 33,064 true gods, and 116 master gods. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. 200 million God spirits, 30,000 true gods, more than 100 master gods. Anyone who saw such a force would have to lower their heads, especially towards the master gods. More than 100 master gods. It's a pity that there aren't more than 100 master gods of the human race. Otherwise, they wouldn't be inferior to the 3 top bloodline races in this aspect. Now, I'm still a little short. Zhou was smiling even though he shaked his head. However, it was always a good thing if their race had more than 100 master gods. If we include the master gods of their subsidiary races, the number of master gods should be around 500 to 1,000. Zhou stroked his chin. The 3 top bloodline races had run the supreme great cosmos for countless years and had gathered countless high, medium, and even weak races. It was quite normal to have so many master gods of the people of foreign races. Nonetheless, this number of master gods were quite terrifying, however he didn't care much. With the speed at which the new master gods under him appeared, in addition to the master gods that he had subdued through war or insight defection, he was confident that in half a year, he would have more master gods than the 3 top bloodline races. This was already a rather terrifying speed. Then he closed the war report and thought for a moment. With a thought he disappeared. The Yellow River. The beautiful red spider lily surrounded a mysterious and majestic Yellow River dockyard. Zhou appeared out of thin air at the dock of the Yellow River dockyard. When he appeared here, he saw a large number of Ghost clan people fishing on their fishing boats on the Yellow River. Another small number of Ghost clan people gathered in an empty space and formed an alliance with the spider lily to refine the dense Yellow River chi here, to increase their cultivation. Soon, a figure instantly transmitted in front of Zhou and said in panic, "Greetings, Your Majesty. I'm late. Please punish me, Your Majesty." This true god was the Ghost clan true god in charge of this place, Yen Luo. This emperor suddenly remembered this place and came straight here. "What crime did you commit? Don't dwell on it. During this period of time, did anything happen to you here? Did anything major happen in Yellow River?" Zhou asked. He naturally had not forgotten that Yellow River had a will-level inheritance. "Reporting to Your Majesty, recently, things have been very calm here. There will be some bewitched people who have lost their memories passing by sometimes, but under our deliberate concealment, they didn't notice us and left very quickly. But there seems to be a battle outside the protection of the Yellow River dockyard. The battle fluctuations there are very terrifying. We remember His Majesty's teachings, and don't rashly go out to expose ourselves. We're just focused on capturing the Yellow River fish here, so we don't know what's going on outside for the time being. Yin Luo said. Well done. Zhou nodded. Then, he fell into deep thought as he looked outside the protection of the Yellow River dockyard. Is there a war going on here? What happened? Could it be related to the reincarnation regal? Zhou was a little curious. There was also a sense of urgency. Even though the protection of the Yellow River dockyard could prevent this place from being discovered by the outside world, if the aftershock of the battle reached here, the protection of the Yellow River dockyard would not be able to protect itself. When the time came, perhaps he would lose this newly built Yellow River dockyard. He could build a new Yellow River dockyard with the Yellow River token, but it's going to be a lot of trouble. It would also reduce his harvest of the Yellow River fish. Thinking of the Yellow River fish, Zhou casually asked, "How's the harvest of the Yellow River fish so far?" Currently, we've caught more than 100,000 Yellow River fish. We've already transported more than 30,000 Yellow River fish to the Divine Kingdom. As for the other 70,000 Yellow River fish, we've temporarily raised them in the area of the Yellow River fish lake we recently opened up. Yin Luo said, "Make me a Yellow River fish." Zhou thought for a moment, and suddenly gave this order. Yin Luo was stunned. Could His Majesty have come here personally, just to eat a Yellow River fish? There were also some in the Divine Kingdom, and the god of cooking in the Divine Kingdom should be much better than them. However, he naturally wouldn't disobey Zhou's orders. After saying yes, he left to prepare. In less than a moment, a plate of delicious Yellow River fish food was delivered to Zhou. Your Majesty, this dish, the 5-colored divine water Yellow River fish, was personally prepared by the high-tier deity-level chef god of our Ingos clan. This technique we developed locks the nutrients in the Yellow River fish. And this one. Yin Luo was like an old glutton as he explained the various benefits of this dish to Zhou. Stop. This emperor will taste it first. Zhou interrupted the other party and tasted it. It does taste good. However, that was not what Zhou was concerned about. He silently sensed the changes in his will after he finished eating the entire Yellow River fish. The will has improved imperceptibly. I've only just entered the will divine transformation realm. I'll probably have to eat 1,000,000 Yellow River fish if I want to reach the intermediate stage of the will divine transformation realm. In this case, I'm afraid I have to eat all the Yellow River fish in the Yellow River to have a chance of advancing to the Supreme Will realm. But how could that be? Zhou shook his head. This Yellow River fish did not prove him with much improvement. However, that was the case anyway. If this thing could be effective on experts at the Will Divine Transformation realm, the Yellow River fish would probably have long been eaten by the Supreme God realm experts of the myriad worlds as an endangered animal. Even the living will of Yellow River would probably not be able to protect it. However, even though this thing was useless for the Will Divine Transformation realm, it still had a good effect on the Will-like Light realm gods. It just so happened that he had a large group of master gods under him. These Yellow River fish could be given to them as a reward to help them advance to the Supreme God realm. When I find time, I have to find a treasure that can increase my Will Divine Transformation realm technique. I remember that there's a supreme treasure called the Eternal Void Demon statue on the Supreme God realm monument of the Ultimate Void battlefield. That Eternal Void Demon statue has the effect of sharpening and improving one's will. I can give it a try when the time comes. Zhou looked forward to the trip to the Ultimate Void battlefield tomorrow at the thought of this. Chapter 1431, Reincarnation Will Editor. Ada's Studios' The Ultimate Void battlefield was so dangerous that even Supreme God realm experts had died here. Why were there still so many god spirits, true gods, master gods, and even Supreme God realm experts heading to the Void battlefield one after another? It was because the rewards set up by the Supreme Will in the Ultimate Void battleground were too generous. If one's strength was good, and one was lucky, the living beings on the Ultimate Void battlefield could completely rely on the treasures on the Supreme God Realm Monument to advance to the Master God or Supreme God. It was even possible for them to obtain will-level opportunities. This is a good dish. Continue hunting the Yellow River fish. However, you don't have to guard this place to the death if you encounter danger in the future. It's just a Yellow River dockyard. It's fine if it's destroyed. We can just find another place to rebuild it. You and the Yellow River token are the most important. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Yes, Your Majesty. Yin Luo was touched. Zhou nodded and was about to leave. However, at this moment, a figure appeared not far from him. Zhou was stunned when he saw the other party. Then, he immediately said respectfully, "Greetings, Your Excellency Regal Soul Heaven." "I'm no longer Regal Soul Heaven." Regal Soul Heaven, whom he had not seen for a long time, smiled. Zhou was stunned. What did that mean? He subconsciously sensed the other party's will aura and discovered something that shocked him. He couldn't sense the existence of the other party's will. However, the other party had clearly descended with its main body. As a will cultivator at the Will Divine Transformation Realm, how could he not sense the other party's will? Unless the other party had already reached a higher level of will realm. Your Excellency has already reached the Supreme Will Realm? Zhou said in disbelief. Haha, not too long ago. My current will is called Reincarnation Will. I temporarily control the Netherworld. I also have free access to the Yellow River. The Reincarnation Will smiled and shook its head. However, my Supreme Will Realm was only forcefully raised by the high-level fate level given by the Supreme Will. My Supreme Will path still requires me to cultivate step by step. Zhou was speechless for a moment. You've already taken such a huge advantage, yet you still despise it? He fell silent for a moment before saying enviously, I still have to congratulate Your Excellency Reincarnation Will for becoming a Supreme Will. However, even though Your Excellency said that you were only forcefully given the fate level of the Supreme Will, with the enhancement of this fate level, it's equivalent to having the inheritance of the Supreme Will Realm. I believe it won't be long before Your Excellency can really achieve the Supreme Will Realm that belongs to you. Reincarnation Will smiled and did not deny it. With the Supreme Will rewarding him, with the enhancement of the Supreme Will of the Reincarnation Will, the fate level, and he being very close to the Supreme Will Realm, he was indeed very confident that he could achieve his own Supreme Will Realm in the near future. Reincarnation Will was just about to praise Zhou and say that he was really knowledgeable to even know about this. However, he sensed something and immediately widened his eyes. Your Will Realm has reached the Will Divine Transformation Realm? He asked in shock. I just advanced not long ago. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. The Reincarnation Will immediately quietened down, somewhat suspecting that a new god was born. It could tell that Zhou was only at the True God tier advanced grade, and he had just broken through. A true god who had just broken through to the True God tier advanced grade of the True God realm had actually comprehended the deity transformation realm of will that only Supreme God realm experts could possess? Isn't this Regal's comprehension too terrifying? One needed to reach the Supreme God realm on their Lord's nomological path, and their will to reach the Will Divine Transformation realm to reach the Supreme God realm. This Regal's willpower realm needs had been fulfilled. There was no problem at all with the Supreme God realm Lord talent. He would be able to comprehend the Supreme God realm law sooner or later as long as he cultivated and comprehended step by step. In other words, the Supreme God realm could already be said to be in the bag for this Regal. This common people's Regal is indeed the successor that the Supreme Will values the most. The Reincarnation Will thought to itself, looks like you'll reach the Supreme God realm sooner or later, Regal. The Will realm is probably not a big problem for you. The Reincarnation Will sighed. You're too kind, Lord Reincarnation. I do have some confidence in reaching the Supreme God realm. But how can the Supreme Will realm be so easy? Zhou shook his head. You're the reserve of the Supreme Will personally chosen by the Supreme Will. The Supreme Will has probably already arranged your path to the Supreme Will. The Supreme Will realm is really nothing to you. The Reincarnation Will said seriously. What the Supreme Will wants is an existence with the same will as him. Only that kind of existence will be useful to the Supreme Will, and can also play a decisive role in the invasion of the Crimson Overlord and the illusionary race. That's the goal of the Supreme Will, to nurture the Lord of all races. However, even with the ability of the Supreme Will, there's no 100% chance of nurturing an existence with a willpower. Therefore, you have to rely on yourself if you want to achieve willpower. I won't say anything else. I hope you won't let the Supreme Will down. Reincarnation Will smiled. Zhou nodded thoughtfully. It turned out that the Supreme Will's anticipation for the Lord of all races was to nurture a supreme expert with a strong will. This goal was indeed far-reaching. He was currently only a true God-tier advanced grade God spirit. Even though his will had already reached the will divine transformation realm, he was still a long way from reaching the will spirit realm. He could take his time. Zhou had no intention of being anxious. How long has it been since he started cultivating? He felt that it was already fast enough for him to have his current achievements. Any faster might be too hasty, and that might cause him not to achieve his goal. Your Excellency, my subordinate said that there was a war outside the Yellow River dockyard. Was that a war between you and the Illusionist clan? Zhou changed the topic. The Reincarnation Will nodded, and its expression became a little serious. It looked out of the Yellow River dockyard and said, "The Supreme Will wants me to lead the Netherworld. Firstly, because of the betrayal of the Netherworld will, and secondly because he wants me to conquer the Netherworld as the Lord of the Netherworld and take back the land of the Netherworld. Yesterday, I led the Netherworld army under my command into the Yellow River and started a war with the Illusionist clan guarding the Yellow River. I'm afraid this war won't end anytime soon." The Reincarnation Will frown slightly towards the end. The Netherworld will betray the Supreme Will? Zhou was shocked with the new knowledge. Chapter 1432. Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent, Heavenly Summoning. This is considered a secret among the higher-ups. I only told you because you're a reserve member of the Lord of all races. Don't tell anyone. The Reincarnation Will reminded. Yes, Your Excellency. Zhou immediately said. Does the Illusionist clan have a lot of troops in Yellow River? He asked curiously. In the end, the Illusionist clan was still an outsider. Even if they took over the Yellow River, their foundation in the Yellow River was still very shallow. Logically speaking, it should not be so difficult to fight. The Reincarnation Will nodded slightly with a solemn expression. These enemies of the Illusionist clan might have arranged quite a number of soldiers in the Yellow River, because they occupied an important realm like the Yellow River. Moreover, they're still pouring troops into the Yellow River continuously, looking like they want retreat from a fight to the death. It's not easy to take back the Yellow River in a short period of time. At this point, he suddenly smiled at Zhou. Common people's regal. The Supreme Will may send you to me to deal with the Illusionist clan with me, after you settle the matter of the ultimate void battleground. When the time comes, we'll be comrades. Zhou was stunned for a moment before he smiled and said, I'm looking forward to that day to be able to fight the Illusionist clan alongside with Lord Reincarnation Will. The Reincarnation Will smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Then its divine body gradually disappeared, leaving a whisper in Zhou's ear. I will categorize your Yellow River dockyard under my protection. Those ghosts of the illusionary race will never invade you as long as I'm in this yellow river. You can run this place without worry. Thank you, Lord Reincarnation Will. Zhou cupped his fists. A smile appeared on his face after he stood up. It felt good to know such a big shot. He resolved what he was worried about with a word. However, Lord Reincarnation Will really values me. I feel like he treats me as a peer. What merits do I have to stand on the same level as such a will-level existence? Zhou sighed. Actually, the answer was very simple. It was because he was a reserve for the Lord of all races. Just like the Emperor's child. Even if this child did not have any official position, the ministers in the court had to be respectful when they saw this child. In terms of status, as the quasi-heir of the Supreme Will, the Lord of all races reserve was indeed not much inferior to a will-level existence. In addition, The reincarnation will was very optimistic about Zhou future, so it lowered its stance and treated him as an equal. Actually, Zhou wanted to ask how the inheritance of Yellow River's will was. However, he recalled that this reincarnation will had a deep relationship with the will of Yellow River. If he rashly asked about such a thing, it would easily arouse the disgust of this will-level existence. In addition, he could definitely participate in the competition for the inheritance of the Yellow River's will with the Yellow River token in hand, so he did not ask. I have to find the right time. It should at least not be out of the blue, Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he shook his head and stopped thinking. With a thought, he disappeared from Yellow River. The next day, in the reincarnation sacred palace, Zhou opened his eyes. Then, he sensed his nomological progress and couldn't help but smile. His lord's nomological progress had increased by a large margin again. In another 2 days, he would be able to advance from True God Tier Advanced Grade to Master God Tier Elementary Grade. In addition, the progress of the Supreme Sacred Body was astonishing. He was already at the level of a Master God Tier Advanced Grade Supreme Sacred Body. With the Supreme Holy Sword and the Regal Sage Dao Sword around, the cultivation efficiency of my Supreme Sacred Body has greatly increased. However, advancing from a Master God Tier Advanced Grade Supreme Sacred Body to a Grade 1 Supreme God Realm Supreme Sacred Body is a huge bottleneck. Even with the help of these 2 holy swords, and the help of a huge number of Lord Talent Crystal Fragments and Lord Talent Origin Divine Crystals, I'm afraid I won't be able to advance to the Grade 1 Supreme Sacred Body in a short period of time. Zhou pondered. In fact, he already had enough cultivation resources. However, the cultivation of the Supreme Sacred Body was too difficult. Even if there were enough cultivation resources, it was impossible to raise the cultivation progress of his Supreme Sacred Body to the Supreme God Realm in a short period of time. I want to cultivate the Supreme Sacred Body to the Grade 1 Supreme God Realm. Even with the help of the 2 holy swords and a vast amount of Lord Talent resources, it will probably take 2 to 3 months. However, I remember that the Supreme God Realm Monument has the exclusive cultivation treasure of a Lord Nomological Cultivator. If I can obtain those treasures, the speed at which one cultivate the Grade 1 Supreme Sacred Body will definitely increase greatly. Zhou's eyes lit up. He needed the resources in the Supreme God Realm Monument, be it willpower cultivation or Lord Law cultivation. He was now more and more eager to head to the ultimate void battlefield. Then, he looked at the mythical tier Lord Talent that he had just awakened this morning. Upon seeing this, he was stunned for a moment before he was pleasantly surprised. Lord Talent. Heavenly Summoning, Mythical Tier Unique. Specific Talent Effect. Any subject you summon from the Gate of Summoning has a minimum strength of Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. It's actually this Mythical Tier 1 Lord Talent. Zhou held his breath. Any subject summoned from the Gate of Summoning would have the strength of at least Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. This was an Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. It was enough to become an existence at the level of the kingdom's worshippers. If this was the early stage of the Lord of all races, if a lord could summon even one Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade subject every day, their strength would probably be enough to sweep through most lords of the various races. Even Zhou, who had Nazario at the early stages of his development, could not defeat an Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade expert. Nazario was only a pure-blooded green bronze tier dragon when it was first BOM. At that time, it could at most fight a white platinum tier expert and could not escape from a diamond tier expert. Not to mention Extraordinary Tier experts. This was not the most important thing. Most importantly, this Lord Talent was extremely suitable for Zhou. This was because the number of soldiers he recruited every day through the recruitment books had reached an astonishing 64 capital unit soldiers, not even counting the normal summoning and the pure-blooded dragons summoned from the original Dragon Abyss. But the strength of these 64 capital unit soldiers, who emerged from the Gate of Summoning, were only at the lowest Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade. Now that he had this mythical unique Lord Talent, The strength of the 64 capital units recruits summoned by him would directly increase from Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade to Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. A total of 64 capital units of Extraordinary Tier soldiers. Just thinking about it felt ridiculous. Furthermore, an Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade is only 3 major tiers away from the God Spirit level. With the Lord talent of my Master God Tier of War, and the help of the vast numbers of books of the God Spirit, it will be extremely easy for them to advance to the level of God Spirits. When the time comes, I will have an endless stream of new God Spirits. Zhou eyes lit up. This mythical tier Lord talent not only brought him a large number of soldiers with formed strength, it also brought him a large number of future God Spirits. Chapter 1433, Supreme Soldier, Supreme God Realm Soldier. Supreme Soldier Type, Supreme Holy Mage God. 1. I was thinking yesterday that the soldiers recruited from the Gate of Summoning were a little weak. You gave me such a top-grade mythical tier unique Lord talent today. As expected of the Supreme Sacred Body, that I spent a lot of resources to cultivate. It really didn't disappoint me. Then, he immediately headed to the world where Mugu was. Mugu was previously arranged to stay in the Mu residence. Later on, after the territory was upgraded to a true God tier territory, Zhou created a small world for Mugu in his Divine Kingdom world. It was specially used to house Mugu and his Scarlet Brood Mother. Later on, after the territory was upgraded to a true God tier territory, Zhou created a small world for Mugu in his Divine Kingdom world. It was specially used to house Mugu and his Scarlet Brood Mother. After Zhou arrived, Mugu immediately stood up and said respectfully, "Greetings, Your Majesty. Has Wuxia already entered the Mist Mother world?" "Yes, Your Majesty. It's been a while, but because the number of fog monsters in the Scarlet Brood Mother has increased greatly, Your Excellency Wuxia will probably take a while to come out." Mugu explained. Zhou nodded. The Mist Mothers under Mugu could produce a total of 20 capital units fog monsters every day. Even though the Homeland Defense Army led by Wuxia had increased in strength recently, it was only about the strength of the 10 capital units. It was normal for them to spend more time dealing with the fog monsters of the Scarlet Brood Mother. He did not intend to let the main combat army help Wuxia. His main combat army was used to deal with enemies that were truly difficult to deal with, not to do such chores. But we do need to increase the strength of the Homeland Defense Army. Perhaps conscription could be made from all races. Mugu handed Zhou some tea as he pondered. Now that he had become a reserve member of the Lord of all races, his reputation had completely spread throughout the myriad worlds. Zheng Yuanqi had told him that the current Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom received applications from a large number of races every day. Faced with these applications, Zhou Manage's opinion was that apart from a few reputable factions, the rest would all accept them. It would be a waste not to take it after all. With the status of a reserve member of the Lord of all races, he was not afraid of these factions betraying him. Even though he had accepted the surrender of these racial forces, Zhou Manage was busy with work, so he had not made any arrangements for these forces for the time being. Since the Homeland Defense Army was running out of troops, he would recruit soldiers from these defecting factions. At this thought, Zhou immediately told Zhou Manage about this idea. Zhou Manage said that there was no problem at all. Right at that moment, a golden stream of light flew out of the Scarlet Brood Mother and landed on the ground, restoring its true appearance. It was Wuxia. "Greetings, Your Majesty. Sorry to keep you waiting, Your Majesty." When Wuxia saw Zhou, he immediately said respectfully. Then, he immediately took out 3 world rings and handed them to Zhou. "Your Majesty, the recruitment books and class change certificates that dropped this time are very shocking." While handing it to Zhou, Wuxia said to him excitedly. Zhou smiled and did not say anything. He took it and sent his divine sense into it. One of the world rings contained a huge number of iron-eating bear pet eggs, tree core gems and other loots. Among the other 2 world rings, One of the world rings contained the 32 capital units of Supreme God Realm Soldier recruitment books, and the 32 capital units of Supreme Holy Mage God recruitment books. The other world ring contained the 32 capital units, Supreme God Realm Soldier Class Change Certificates, and the 32 capital units Supreme Holy Mage God Class Change Certificates. Among them, the Supreme God Realm Soldier was actually a Divine Kingdom Soldier type, the Chaos Dominator Supreme Advanced Soldier type. As for the Supreme Holy Mage God, it was a Divine Kingdom Soldier type, an advancement from the Primordial Holy Canon Soldier type. Even though the latter's advancement was a little strange, Zhou did not mind. Indeed, with Heavenly Fate Di Huang's help, these Divine Kingdom soldiers have directly advanced to the Supreme Soldier type. While I don't have a Divine Kingdom Soldier type, I skipped this stage and had an even stronger Supreme Soldier type. Among all the forces in the universe, I should be the only one with such an experience, right? Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he handed the world ring filled with the Supreme God Realm Soldier Class Change Certificates and the Supreme Holy Mage God Class Change Certificates to Wuxia and said solemnly, Legion Commander Wu, I won't give these 64 capital units Class Change Certificates to those reserve duty recruits for the time being. Send them to Bai Yun and let her change all the soldiers under her to Supreme God Realm Soldiers and Supreme Holy Mage Gods. Yes, Your Majesty. Wuxia was not surprised and agreed immediately. This was only the class change certificate for the first batch of Supreme Professions. Naturally, it had to be given to the soldiers of the main combat army to use. They could not let those weak recruits use it before the main combat army even used it. Then, Wuxia did not say anything else and flew directly to the Eternal Mothership. After watching Wuxia leave, Zhou flew out of the Divine Kingdom world and arrived in front of the Gate of Summoning. He looked at the 64 capital units recruitment books in the world rings. He did not summon all of them. Instead, he took out Supreme God Realm Soldier recruitment books and Supreme Holy Mage God recruitment books and threw them into the Gate of Summoning. Chapter 1434. Supreme Soldier, Supreme God Realm Soldier. Supreme Soldier Type Supreme Holy Mage God. Too soon 2 figures walked out from the Gate of Summoning. The first figure was a middle-aged man. He was 8 feet tall and had dark golden pupils in his eyes. He wore a black armor with mysterious patterns and held a spiked club in his hand. Zhou frowned when he first looked at him. He could not help it. This guy looked too ordinary, not much different from an intermediate grade soldier type. The ability of the Supreme Soldier type is only to this extent. However, the way Zhou looked at him immediately changed when he moved his body slightly and crushed the surrounding space into a black line. With just a slight movement, it crushed the surrounding space. Even God spirits couldn't do this, right? Moreover, if the other party really had the power of a Supreme Soldier type, how much did he have to restrain his power so that he couldn't see it at all? Furthermore, Zhou could sense that the other party's armor and weapons were extraordinary. This was definitely not ordinary armor or weapon. Zhou had yet to look at his attributes list. However, he knew that he must have picked up a treasure. Then, he looked at the attributes list of this Supreme Soldier type with anticipation. Soldier name, Rock Dust, Territory, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Soldier type, Supreme God Realm Soldier Supreme Soldier. Strength level, Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview. A Supreme Soldier type inherited from the Supreme God Realm. It has the Supreme God Realm Physical Immunity Talent, the Soul Immunity Talent, the Elemental Immunity Talent, the Law Immunity Talent, and the Willpower Defense Talent. Almost no Supreme Soldier type of the same level can break through their defense. In addition, their attacks were above all types of attacks. Their attacks could easily injure the enemy, but the enemy's attacks could not cause fatal damage to them. In terms of close combat skills, they had also reached the level of a heavenly martial artist. All the Supreme God Realm soldiers in the myriad worlds could not compare to they, in terms of combat skills. They could be said to be the hexagonal warriors among all the Supreme Soldier types. In the end, the Supreme God Realm armors and Supreme God Realm soldiers they were wearing were growth-type treasures that could grow into Supreme Divine artifacts with their soldier types. Moreover, in the hands of the Supreme God Realm soldiers, they could unleash terrifying power that exceeded Supreme Divine artifacts. Skills: Supreme Arms Talent, Strongest Divine Body. Supreme Arms Talent, Absolute Immunity. Supreme Arms Talent, God of Heavenly Martial Arts. Supreme Arms Talent, Immortality. Supreme Arms Talent, Divine Weapon Will. Supreme Arms Talent, Divine Weapon Integration. Supreme Arms Talent, Extreme Vitality. Supreme Arms Talent, Companion Divine Weapon. Supreme Arms Talent, Infinite Rebirth. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Developable Skill. Sea Covering Staff. Grade 4 Supreme God Level. Developable Skill. A World Within Reach. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Developable Skill. Vajra Hammer Technique. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Developable Skill. Thousand Shadows Mysterious Body Step. Grade 4 Supreme God Level Law Skill. Essence Destroying Staff. Supreme Divine Weapon Will Condensation Method Sealed. Loyalty 90. Potential. Master God Tier Advanced Grade, World Limit. Zhou looked at it, and could only summarize one word on the attribute panel of this Supreme God Realm soldier: invincible. His physical body was invincible. He had invincible spirit and defense against willpower. His combat skills were also invincible. Not only did he have the inheritance of the Supreme God Realm's will, he also had armors and weapons that could be upgraded along with their strength and realm. He could even be upgraded to the Supreme God Realm. When Zhou saw this, he could not help but take a deep breath. Even if he had Heavenly Fate Di Huang's talent, and would obtain countless divine artifacts, and even Supreme Divine artifacts in the future, he didn't have any confidence in providing Supreme Divine artifacts for all his soldier types and soldiers in the future. However, this Supreme God Realm weapon had armor and weapons that could grow to the level of a Supreme Divine artifact. As expected of a Supreme God Realm soldier, just having a 100% chance of obtaining a Supreme Divine artifact in the future is enough to make countless Supreme God Realm experts envious, let alone having other advantages. Zhou thought in surprise. Then, he looked at another soldier. This soldier wore a divine robe with a golden pattern on his glabella. He held a scepter with countless law engravings surrounding him, making him look like the master of all laws. He looked at him. A text notification appeared. Soldier name, Zhang Wanzong. Territory, Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. Soldier type, Supreme Holy Mage God Supreme Soldier. Strength level, Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview, a Supreme Soldier type that has inherited the Supreme Law of Spells. It has the Supreme God Realm Willpower Immunity Talent, the Soul Immunity Talent, and is proficient in all elemental spells and elemental law skills in the myriad worlds. The Supreme Holy Mage God suppressed all other spellcasters in terms of level. The elemental spell attacks and elemental law skill attacks of other spellcasters would automatically weaken by 50% when facing the Supreme Holy Mage God. When facing other spellcasters, the elemental spell attacks and elemental law skill attacks would automatically increase by 100%. The Supreme Holy Mage God could instantly release all elemental spells and elemental law skills, but the price was that it required twice the magic power/divine power. The ultimate Holy Archmage has mastered a type of Supreme Divine technique that is exclusive to them. This spell has reached the pinnacle of the law of spells, and the power and effect of the spell is 10 times that of the same level. Skills: Supreme Soldier Type Talent Holy Technique Body. Supreme Soldier Type Talent Willpower Immunity. Supreme Soldier Type Talent Soul Immunity. Supreme Soldier Type Talent All Methods Proficiency. Supreme Soldier Type Talent Spell Supreme. Supreme Soldier Type Talent Spell Authority. Supreme Soldier Type Talent Instantaneous Spell. Supreme Soldier Type Talent Holy Technique. Supreme Soldier Type Talent Supreme Technique. Supreme God Realm Enhanceable Spell Power of 4 Symbols. Supreme God Realm Enhancement Spell Instant Movement. Supreme God Realm Enhancement Spell Healing Technique. Supreme God Realm Enhancement Spell. Supreme Divine Technique. Supreme Divine Technique, Supreme Divine Technique, Heavenly Technique. Loyalty, 90. Potential. Master God Tier Advanced Grade World Limit. Zhou carefully read every skill in the other party's skill column. After reading it, he couldn't help but take a deep breath as a smile appeared on his face. As expected of a Supreme Soldier type, the other party could be said to be a soldier-type profession that had reached the pinnacle of spells. Among those of the same level, a Supreme Holy Mage God could probably defeat 100 forbidden mages. Moreover, the effects of the other party's Supreme Divine Techniques were also very shocking. Such Supreme Divine Techniques were somewhat similar to Forbidden Mage spells, but it was the ultimate evolution of Forbidden Mage spells. If this Supreme Divine Technique was used on the battlefield, the effect it could cause would be at least 10 times, or even 100 times of the Forbidden Mage spell. Furthermore, the Supreme Holy Mage God is immune to both will and spirit. That's amazing. Zhou sighed. Starting from the Master God tier, to the Supreme God realm, and even to willpower level existences later on, the higher the level of existence, the more they began to pay attention to developing the power of willpower. Willpower attacks, willpower defense methods, willpower control methods, willpower secret techniques, and even willpower divine artifacts. All sorts of willpower-type techniques appeared endlessly. He could naturally deal with these methods since the Supreme Holy Mage Gods were immune to willpower. Just based on this point alone, the Supreme Holy Mage Gods could be considered a high-level soldier-type profession. The further they went, the stronger they would become. With these two supreme professions, I have a certain level of self-preservation in the ultimate void battlefield. Zhou muttered to himself. A supreme soldier type could be considered a top-notch soldier type, even on the ultimate void battlefield. For example, the myriad evil demon ancestor, who was currently in charge of the entire ultimate void battlefield, had a supreme soldier type called the ultimate evil spirit. It was precisely because he had a large number of such supreme soldier types, and his identity as a reserve lord of all races, that he could convince the god spirits of the supreme will camp to fight against him and the ultimate void creatures. It could be seen how powerful the supreme soldier type was. Chapter 1435, Legendary Dragon Race, 9 Divine Dragons, Kiruate. 9th Clone 1. Then, Zhou did not think too much about it. He first threw the remaining Supreme God Realm Soldier recruitment books and Supreme Holy Mage God recruitment books into the Gate of Summoning. Then, he spent 100 true God tier intermediate grade divine crystals to recruit them all in one go and placed them on the Eternal Mothership. When he saw the 64 low-level extraordinary tier Supreme God Realm Soldiers and Supreme Holy Mage Gods appear out of thin air in the internal world of the Eternal Mothership, he could not help but feel endless heroism. With these Supreme Soldier types in hand, other than the territories of will-level existences, where in the myriad worlds could he not go? He only appeased the burning flames of ambition in his heart after a long while. Then, he opened the original Dragon Abyss interface and spent 100 true God tier intermediate grade divine crystals to summon 66,666,660 pure-blooded dragons. He also placed them in the Eternal Mothership. He habitually glanced at the pure-blooded dragons. When he saw the figure of one of the pure-blooded dragons, he was first stunned before he couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. That was because this dragon was a legendary dragon. Not bad, not bad. The 30% probability was really not fake. Zhou looked at the other party. This legendary dragon was covered in 7 colored gem scales. There was a ring of gem dragon horns on its head. They clustered together, looking like a gem crown. Surging elemental fluctuations surrounded this pure-blooded dragon, vaguely forming a boundless universe-level elemental realm. Legendary dragon, 9 divine dragons, correct? It's actually this dragon. Zhou was a little surprised. This legendary dragon from the gem dragon race was an existence comparable to the goddess of magic, as the two progenitors of magic. If the goddess of magic was good at all-round magic, and had dabbled in all kinds of magic, and was proficient in them. Furthermore, He had created the magic network, benefiting all the spellcasters in the myriad worlds. Then Kiruate was only good at elemental magic. However, because he was deeply involved in the field of elemental magic, and had major achievements in the field of elemental magic, Kiruate's reputation even surpassed that of the goddess of magic. The reason why this legendary dragon was called the 9 Divine Dragons was because he was extremely good at the magic of the 9 magical domains of earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light, darkness, gems, and chaos. In these 9 magical domains, even the goddess of magic was inferior to Kiruate. As Zhou pondered, the legendary dragon also noticed his gaze. It transformed into a white light and flew in front of Zhou. It appeared in its true form and said respectfully, "Legendary dragon, Kiruate greets your majesty, the lord of the regal dragon." His majesty, the lord of the regal dragon? Zhou was speechless before he smiled. "Your excellency is too polite. Welcome to the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom. It's Kiruate's honor to be able to join the Blazing Sun Divine Kingdom and become a part of your majesty's forces." Kiruate lowered its stance very much. Zhou guessed that this was not only because he was a reserve member of the Lord of all races. More importantly, it was because of his identity as the Lord of the Regal Dragon. In this world where lords were respected, the status of the Regal Dragon was not inferior to the Primordial Dragon at all. After all, it was even slightly higher. Zhou chatted with the other party for a while before sending someone to bring it, and the other pure-blooded dragons to the Dragon God Army. Then, he spent another 100 true God-tier intermediate-grade divine crystals to recruit today's new subjects. In the end, he realized that he had recruited more than 510 million new subjects today. He had summoned more than 80 million new subjects than usual, including the 13 true God-tier intermediate-grade God spirits. That's not the most important thing. What was important was that because of the Lord talent, heavenly summoning, he realized that these new subjects had all become professionals with extraordinary tier elementary grade strength. However, their professional columns were empty. In other words, these subjects only had the strength of extraordinary tier elementary grade professionals, but they did not have any specific profession abilities. Oh boy, can that happen? Is this a bug? Zhou clicked his tongue. He looked at these jobless people who had no profession but extraordinary power. How should he nurture these subjects? He pondered. Even though more than 500 million extraordinary tier subjects were nothing to Zhou, he still had to prepare them for their future development with the reason that he had to be responsible for them as a lord. Just give me the profession class change certificate. This way, they can directly become extraordinary tier elementary grade professionals. Zhou quickly made a decision. This way, they could have their own combat strength as quickly as possible. However, Zhou had no intention of letting them join the main combat army. Same old rules. Professionals who came out of the gate of summoning would all join the Homeland Defense Army first. Want to join the main combat army? That's fine. He just had to pass the elimination system and come up through the competitive selection. The soldiers of the main combat army had very heavy war missions. He wanted to let true experts join in. As for what class change certificate to use, it was naturally the class change certificate of 2 supreme soldier types, the Supreme God Realm Soldier and the Supreme Holy Mage God. Now he had 64 capital units class change certificates of supreme professions every day. After the main army completed their job transition, they could be used by the soldiers of the Homeland Defense Army before being used by the reserve recruits. Right at that moment, boom, 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 boom. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.